Canary Cry New Stalk, the new intense fragrance made specifically for thinking outside the cage. From your favorite podcasters, Basil and Goms.
Gons, can you hear me? I'm hearing reports about a prototype flippy arm.
Don't tell me. Flippy is coming for our jobs.
That's right. You know what this means.
Yeah, it's wake-up time. Think outside the cage.
Hey everybody, what is going on? It's me, your best buddy Basil, and we are getting the show started in just a second. For some reason, something is going wrong here. I'm trying to send the text message to the text message alert system, but something has gone horribly wrong. I don't know what it is. I might need to sign out. Might need to sign back in. The button is grayed out. It doesn't want to let me do it. Oh no! Well, this is usually the moment when I attempt to convince you that what you need to do now is text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Remember, it's Canary to 877-740-3226 so you can start receiving the text message alerts. Because as we've seen, Rumble has decided not to send notifications. YouTube is a bit temperamental. Some people get them, some people don't. Both of those outlets are having a great time unsubscribing people unsuspectedly from the channel. It's just this whole thing, which is why we're trying to take back our streaming sovereignty over at canarycry.tube. You should go check it out. However, I have now logged back in to the text message alert system, and it's not working. What is going on? I do not have time. Do not have time for this. Hold on. I'm sending. Don't worry, everybody. I'm going to send a support ticket. Live support tickets. You don't get this on any other thing, any other podcast. Let's see here. I have a product question. Okay. Well, while you're at it, you should still go to canarycry.tube, check it out, and text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That will allegedly get you on the text message alert system, where we will text you before every show. We don't take your name. We don't take any data. We got nothing to sell, folks. And that's the way it should be. So you'll just receive a text message 3 times a week before every show. And it's really great. While you're at it, you should sign up for the newsletter. Go to canarycry.party. Sign up for the newsletter. That's another great way to get hooked in, because someday we will simply disappear. All right. Hold on. My send option is grayed out. Okay. Help me. Help me! I think this is a robot, which I expect will be no help at all. But we'll see. Sorry, text message alert people. The text message system is mad. It's mad at me. I don't know why. Let's see. Oh, they said they'll be closed. They closed now? That wouldn't be good. All right. Well, let's get this show started. Pretty low on producership today, so if anybody was looking for a perfect time to come in, get demooch, support the show, and really save the day, today would be a great day to do that. Let's go ahead and get this party started, baby. Let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Goms as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is March 27th, 2024. We are live to tape on episode 727, And today, threat crafting. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy Basil, and you, friend, are not crazy.
And my name is Gons, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the land of New Scum to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's immersion phenomenon. Do not be threatened. Do not be threatened, all you people out there.
It's a lie.
1 Peter 3:2-4, at least in the NLT there. But even if you suffer for doing what is right, God will reward you for it. So do not worry or be afraid of their threats, which, some translations have terror. Don't be afraid of their terror. Don't be troubled by their terror.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah.
Because that might be a little bit more specific than just threats,
I know.
Active
Threats and terror being a little synonymous. A whole new perspective on the terror situation that we live in right now.
Yeah. Well, the text message alert system is threatening me, perhaps even terrorizing me right now, because I was unable to send out the text message today. And people love the text message, guys.
Yeah, people get mad if they don't get it.
They get mad if they don't get it. I'm sorry. I'm pressing it. It's not going to work. We're being censored on our text message alert system, and everything is in order, and they're just not letting it happen. So,
do not be troubled, my friend.
Do not be troubled. We need to start a Canary Cry phone tree. Like an old school phone tree. If you're going to get a snow day at school or something, you get your call from your friend's mom. Just let's see. These are the beautiful parts of society. Back in the day, back before all of this technocracy, we used to have things that brought society closer together, making us actual neighbors with our neighbors, such as the phone tree. So get ready for that, folks. We're going to start the phone tree. it might literally be our only option at some point is to go back to phone tree. So sorry, text message people. I apologize.
Okay. Well, I guess we should disclaim for the YouTubes.
I think so. Let's do it.
That was not correct.
That's not right.
So hold on. Let me try this one more time. Let's see. Disclaimer.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up.
YouTube. That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys.
That's right, Gons. Let me give you a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Yes, folks, surely you've heard by now the merchant ship, the very spirit of American militarism, the merchant ship, has betrayed the spirit of America by taking out the Francis Scott Key. Is that what his name is? Yeah, Star Spangled Banner guy. Bridge! What's going on? What is the legacy mainstream media leading us to believe? What are they leaving out? And what does AI have to do with the prevailing conspiracy theory about it? You will only find this answer here. And then, of course, we're moving on to Flippy, some really magnificent propaganda connecting the robot arm to some of the most important world events, tugging at the heartstrings of all good people everywhere. Then we're going to be spending some time. It's about time, folks, that we finally sat down and talked about the C word, the extreme hullabaloo about cancer, especially in young people. This information leading to a widespread panic regarding the reasons, the causes, the mysteries behind all this cancer. And of course, we all think we know the answer to this, but I'll tell you what, folks, this is nothing new. But the mainstream PSYOP perhaps is. And then at the end of the show, getting back to Africa, folks, why we can't freeze out Antarctica's national security consequences. Wake up, sheeple. We're going south. But first, Gons, our lead stories.
Did you say Africa? Did you mean
No.
Antarctica?
No, but I said it in the parlance, back to Africa, back to Antarctica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You
see, you
confused
got it.
me. Yeah, it took me a second to get that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's get a rogue. What is it? I'm trying to say things and it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. It's all the threats, man. It's the threat
All the
crafting.
threats. They're getting to my head.
5th gen warfare. They're targeting you. They're targeting you.
5th gen warfare.
World War III. We can fight the Third World War down there. Build back better. Build back better. Build back better. We will build Babylon better. This time, a new world order.
Yeah, so of course, the big story that hit yesterday, right from the get-go in the morning, was this story that AP is reporting. Headline: Baltimore bridge collapses after powerless cargo ship rams into support column, 6 presumed dead. I don't know if you saw this footage, but
It's
pretty
stressful
disturbing.
footage, man.
Stressful footage.
So at
the video
approximately
is
0140 hours
Yeah,
this
so
morning,
you want to describe sort of the video footage that
Yeah, I'm
everyone's
getting
seeing?
the
and then
audio
we can-
from this video.
Okay, well, that's that's your problem.
There we go. Yes, so we've all seen the video. We've seen it at various speeds, sped up, slowed down. Nobody can really nail down how fast this thing is supposed to be moving. But of course, merchant ships move very slowly, so most videos are sped up. And what we see is the nighttime skyline of the Sir Francis Scott Key Bridge. Guns, just real quick, in the video version that you are showing, it's showing an extremely zoomed in. Okay, there we go.
That is AP's version of making sure everyone sees the cars that were there falling.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they want to traumatize everybody with this, and so they're doing the zoom in on the cars that were sitting
Got
there.
it.
Yeah.
Wow, that is strange. That is so specific. The
Yeah,
psyop
because
is
most
strong.
of social media, it was the ship kind of veering off, lights turning off, turning back on, and then bumping into the thing. So
Yeah, and really, again, the thing you got to remember about these ships go extremely slow. Now they are very big, so there's a lot of what is it? Inertia? Is that a thing? Is that what I'm thinking?
Yep, energy,
Whatever it is.
inertia. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and you see the lights flicker off.
Uh-huh.
You see the lights flicker on. You see the ship make an extremely sharp turn directly into the pylon of this bridge, and then in sort of a magnificent sort of, I don't know, display of structural disintegrity, the trestle bridge goes down piece by piece. Really an incredibly large structure. I mean, everything in this video is incredibly large, but so it's very sort of, I don't know, majestic is not the right word, but it does inspire awe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yes,
so
it is very stressful watching the cars drive. If it's zoomed in on the boat, you can see the cars drive, and you're like, "Oh no, keep going, little buddy, keep going, don't stop." And then,
I pulled up the footage that I got shared. I think Sharon Gilbert was the one that I got it from, but it shows a few more seconds or maybe minutes before it actually happened, and you see the ship light on, and then the lights go out, and you see the ship completely go dark, and then it's kind of just cruising, and then when it's too late, the light actually comes back on.
Yeah.
And then it veers into the one of the pillars there, and then the whole thing goes down. Yeah. So
yeah. So
AP cut out the part where the ship shuts off its lights.
That is bizarre.
That is
That's very
interesting, and
bizarre
instead
detail.
just focuses on the people on the bridge that are falling.
Yeah, a
Good
very
old AP. Thanks, AP.
Very strange way of presenting the information. Now, of course, just as a reminder to everybody, in case you didn't get the newsletter today, I have been on a kick recently trying to remind the good people of America and perhaps even the whole world that the very spirit of American imperialism, the very soul of American militarism, which is to say the soul of America, is directly tied to merchant ships. It's the reason why we have the military that we do. It's the reason why we have the global influence that we do. It's the reason why parts of our military were even existed, and of course that trickles down into all of what we would consider traditional American values, traditional American attitudes and patriotism, and it's all based on merchant ships. The whole place is based on merchant ships. And I think that there is something perhaps in the principalities and powers, or in the realms of the mind and the spirit. I think it's very interesting that in this case we have a merchant ship destroying the bridge named after the man who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner. A very, even if you just look at it in the sort of symbolic sense, it's quite the impactful thing to see. Much like how, 9/11 was especially impactful because of what the World Trade Center meant in sort of a symbolic fashion in the skyline of the United States. I'm sorry, New York. It's these, whether or not anything happens by accident or on purpose, there is no denying that in the symbolic soul of America, this is a pretty triggering and traumatic thing to the American patriotic unconscious.
Yeah, of course.
Now, No, go
I was going to say the bridge maybe representing how globalism had been building up over the last few decades, and of course with COVID and everything, people started saying, "Oh, this is the end of globalism. Everyone's retreating to their own nations. They're creating more borders and all that kind of stuff." And so it could represent the crumbling of the alliances that have been formed through the power of the merchant ship, system, control, the whole thing you've been talking about.
I could also see how because it's Sir Francis Scott Key, we can think of the bridge as sort of a traditional patriotic attitude or soul of America, and where merchant ships were once the reason we became so great. The
undoing.
The global economy, which was once our sole purpose as a nation to exist, to protect, now turns its back and destroys what we consider, patriotism or a classical idea of what America is. There are lots of ways to think about it, but surely it'll mean different things to different people.
Of course. I do want to read a couple parts here from the AP article just to get an idea of how AP is reporting it, because they seem to focus in on certain things and not other things. It says here, Baltimore, a cargo ship lost power and rammed into a major bridge in Baltimore early Tuesday. So losing power, that already brings up so many questions. How did it lose power? What do you mean it lost power? How come it turned back on before it actually hit the
why
thing?
is it still driving? Does losing power means it can't steer? It doesn't mean it can.
There's all kinds of stuff.
What exactly does that mean in the sort of mechanics of this situation?
Sure. Destroying the span in a matter of seconds and plunging it into the river in a terrifying collapse that could disrupt a vital shipping port for months. 6 people were missing and presumed dead, and the search for them was suspended until Wednesday morning. It does mention here the ship's crew issued a mayday call moments before the crash took down the Francis Scott Key Bridge. They don't mention who Francis Scott Key is. They do have a little link to it, so if you want to find out, the guy who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner.
They don't want to give away the symbolism. They want to let it work on the unconscious of America without actually having to come right out and say it. We know this is the way that they work.
And this is how I know that this is part of a mind control operation beyond just the infrastructure stuff. A few things. First of all, it says here, as the vessel neared the bridge, puffs of black smoke could be seen as the lights flickered on and off. Kind of reminds me of like the Pope thing, with the white smoke and all that. It struck one of the bridge supports, causing the structure to collapse like a toy. Like a toy.
It's a toy.
Just a toy. I thought that was a weird description to call it a toy. A couple of the people missing were not even from the United States. They were from another country, Guatemala,
Well,
Honduras.
that brings up, I want to let you go on that, but that
Sure.
brings up an interesting thing just to sort of mention before you read more, which is, again, back to the symbolism, but also back to just a very important detail about national security.
Yep.
Is, look, if there's anything that would not be hindered, if there's anything that would have the best chance of, I don't know, transporting something or someone into the country, it's not airplanes, it's not by land, it's in shipping containers.
Cargo, yeah.
Cargo, yes. We are always going to let cargo into the country. It's essential that the cargo makes it. This is not, you know, we're talking about immigration, we're talking about the flights from Canada, we're talking about the the land route from the south, we're talking about all these things, but nobody's talking about something that has classically been a part of illegal immigration and human trafficking, which is cargo ships, shipping containers, things like this. And it's because the country absolutely requires these ships to come in. And so, you know, I would say if there's anything that is the sort of easiest entry point for something from the outside world, meaning internationally, the easiest way that you can guarantee entry is through the cargo shipping system.
Yeah, so what was going on the cargo ship, or perhaps remotely, you know, targeting the cargo ship?
Sure.
Are there any Q things about like, oh, the children were on there, the ship, and the White House shut it down, and we saved the children. That's what we did. We saved the trafficked children. It took a bridge out, but you know.
Yeah, that is such
collateral
a good point.
damage.
I'm sure that there's some of that out there because, of course, these sort of theories are flying around. Now, specifically regarding the power going out issue, this has really tipped off the directed energy weapon theories.
Yeah. Before we go down that path, let me just do one quote from the mayor of Baltimore here. That, again, suggests to me that there's more going on. Quote, "It looked like something out of an action movie," end quote. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott said, calling it, quote, "an unthinkable tragedy." We always relate it to movies.
We have to. Our brains have to relate
Our
it to
brains have been
Hollywood.
conditioned in this country. And this happened to me when 9/11 happened. I was 18 years old. I was like, man, this is like the movies. That it's crazy how much our brains have been conditioned to relate to these types of events to movies. I mean, it just shows the predictive programming works.
Yeah,
really
exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the point. I mean, people, you know, especially people in our kind of crowd, they'll make a big point about how they never watch TV, they never watch movies, they never watch, you know, they don't go to the movie theater, they don't, whatever. And that's all good. That's
Consume a lot
probably
less nowadays.
That's probably all preferred, absolutely. But I mean, the Hollywood programming is so deeply entrenched in, you know, the minds, I won't even say the souls, but perhaps the souls, but the minds of the American people, that an American can hardly perceive a thing happen without calling upon the references given to us by the media, by not just news media, but by, you know, the Hollywood and the like. So it's totally natural. It's totally okay.
And you think about the topics that Hollywood and stuff covers. It's AI, it's aliens, it's robots. You know, all the stuff they're going to roll out, we're all just going to be like, oh, it's like the movies. Oh, it's totally like the movies. Like everyone's just going to be saying it as the microchip enters people's brains. So,
which is kind of used to their benefit as well.
Sure.
Because the predictive programming often includes making something ridiculous in a movie first, so when the real thing comes around, you
have an association.
Disarmed.
One last little thing from the article down at the bottom: Tuesday's collapse is sure to create a logistical nightmare along the East Coast for months, if not years. Shutting down ship traffic at the port of Baltimore, a major hub. The loss of the bridge will also snarl cargo and commuter traffic. Quote, "Losing this bridge will devastate the entire area as well as the entire East Coast," end quote, said State Senator Johnny Ray Salling said. Which leads me to believe this is probably, you know, in the context of a geopolitical tension or war, if you will. Maybe some foreign adversaries or internal, allowing foreign adversaries, however you want it. It's getting messy out there.
No, I mean,
pull off some things.
Which is kind of part of what makes me so skeptical about so many things.
Sure.
Should we get into some of the theories?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Go back to the energy weapon there.
Now, number one, yes, directed energy weapon, turning out the lights on the boat. This is like a huge one. For some reason, directed energy weapons are just like the instant go-to to pretty much anything that happens in the world. And that's fine. That's good. I mean, it's interesting because it's only recently that like the alt media at large has sort of accepted the idea of directed energy weapons.
Marjorie Taylor Greene really just brought it to the forefront with the Jewish space lasers.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about it.
And I do say alt on purpose because basically alt is the mainstream of independent media. But it used to be, even in our crowd, Gons, even in the weirdos on the internet, directed energy weapons used to be such an eye-rolling concept to those who hadn't really looked into it. But now it's you can basically call it a mainstream idea. And a lot of that has to do with, of course, declassifications and the mainstream media and the military-industrial complex coming out and basically saying, yeah, we have directed energy weapons. It's cool. So it's a viable thing. I don't necessarily see why directed energy weapons would be of interest at all in this case. I mean, back to the movie programming, we have seen dozens of movies. Forget movies. We just saw live recorded footage of a real piracy helicopter landing on a shipping container boat in the Red Sea and watching not Hamas, the Houthis wearing GoPros take over the boat. Like, this is something that is so easily explainable. You got some sort of SEAL Team 6 or some sort of rogue squadron of operators make it onto the boat, beep, bop, boop, turn out the lights, maybe hack the mainframe, and then take control of the boat. It looks to me more like a hack of the boat's systems, and the lights going off being sort of like a system reboot with the control now under the control of whoever hacked it, whether they are literally on the boat or whether they are not on the boat, because it is immediately after the lights come back on that you can kind of start to see it swerving pretty sharply towards the perfect place that would take out the thing. So whether or not, I mean, the lights going out could be a dozen different things. I'm not super concerned with the directed energy weapon idea, but is that something that captures your imagination, Guns?
Not particularly in this case. Maybe energy weapons that can, shut down electric things or some targeted type of stuff could be possibility.
Which of course,
but also
some sort of EMP or something.
Yeah, but also, aren't a lot of these ships at least monitored, maybe even connected to satellite systems?
Oh yeah, they're basically remotely controlled.
Right.
For the most
so that,
part,
to your point about hacking, that seems more likely. Or if it doesn't have to be like a code hack. It could be a social engineering type of hack, or
it could
something
have been from headquarters. Yes, it could be any number of things.
Right. So there's all kinds of stuff. We won't know for sure, but I think I dug into a little bit of how there's articles out there, just one in particular, I'll just read the headline, how satellites are forcing maritime pirates to walk the plank, basically saying like no ship ever out there anymore is safe. Even the pirate ships, they're all being monitored. So there's an eye in the sky, so to speak. So, for something like this to happen, does feel like, it feels very much like how Israel's Iron Dome was breached. It has that feel of like, how could that even, we have such high level security systems, allegedly. How can something like this happen? So anyway.
I mean, there's basically a Skynet connecting all merchant ships around the world to like one network. Okay, so here starts the real theories, Guns.
Oh, you want to go down the rabbit trail? Is this
Yeah, let's really go down the rabbit hole here.
Come, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Starting out with this first X post here, because this
boy.
one has really
Going to
caught
X
fire. And folks, I'm just going to tell you ahead of time. Oh, no, the page doesn't exist. That's not good. Okay, wait,
Which
it's
one?
back. The
okay.
first X post we are going to be talking about
Oh,
seems...
the concerned citizen?
Yeah.
I
Is
got
it
it
gone?
here.
Is it open for you?
Maybe they took it down because
Maybe if you...
it's not very accurate. So,
yeah. Okay, why don't you read that concerned
okay,
citizen's
this
post?
tweet is coming from, or a post, I guess, coming from Concerned Citizen. And it says, Baltimore bridge collapse. This is Angela Chao. She was the CEO of the shipping company that owned the cargo vessel responsible for the Baltimore bridge collapse.
Oh, no.
Last month, she drowned in her vehicle, allegedly drunk, and backed her car into a pond. She is also the sister-in-law of Republican Senator Mitch McConnell. Suspicious much, or just yet another crazy coincidence? There's a screenshot of Angela Chao. I think this is just like a wiki page of her.
Yeah, and for those who don't recall, I think maybe I tuned out for a second. You may have already talked about this, but Angela Chao was the wife of Mitch McConnell who got trapped.
No. She's the sister of the sister-in-law. Also the sister-in-law of Republican Senator Mitch McConnell. So,
the
her
sister of the
is
wife
married to Mitch McConnell. Yeah,
Mitch McConnell. She got trapped in her Tesla. She is the owner, or in the family of owners, of a number of shipping companies. She got locked in her Tesla, and her Tesla auto drove backwards into a pond. Very sad tale. Also one sort of straight out of a Black Mirror episode. Very suspicious, very strange. And interestingly enough here, Gons, let me give you this. It seems like the internet has been catching up to our research here.
Oh, good.
But the Concerned Citizen says, I have deleted a post about Angela Chao, as it appears the link between the two shipping companies was incorrect, and one of the online sources has been scrubbed. Boop, boop, boop.
Wait, the online source was scrubbed?
He didn't have an online source, but this is good. We can still move through our story here, Gons, because we found exactly where this came from.
Yeah.
Now, so he came out with this idea. Everybody's going nuts. I mean, it is kind of a fun, interesting connection if you don't go try to find the sources for these things. Mitch McConnell's sister-in-law gets basically assassinated in a Tesla by a hack, an electronic hack, which, has some interesting connections to this ship. She owned a shipping company. Oh, it's all coming together, folks.
Yeah. And it does sound like it comes together when you just say she owned a shipping company, a ship just, ran into a bridge, knocked it down, killed some people.
Yeah, and potentially both from remote hacks of their vehicles.
Yeah. Russia.
So now, you think, okay, so how did he make this connection? How did he make this connection between Foremost Group, which is the one Mitch McConnell's sister-in-law is an owner of, Foremost Group, and then we had a couple of other companies. Let's see here, Synergy Marine Group, which is the operator of Dolly, which was the name of the boat. I mean, talk about sort of postmodern symbolism, taking out the Sir Francis Scott Key Bridge.
The Salvador Dali reference there.
Exactly. Synergy Marine Group, and is being operated by Maersk, which is maybe the most famous shipping company in the world.
Yeah.
And somehow a connection was made between Foremost Group and Synergy Marine Corp. And this goes back to a tweet from Lori Allan, who is a very active sort of conspiracy person on Twitter. And she says, this information has been scrubbed. Early in the afternoon yesterday, Grok/Google said the Foremost Group, Chao, owned the Dolly. Yesterday, Google changed this information. I saw this happen in real time. Now, I don't fully understand the connection that she's making between Grok and Google, because Grok is an X product. It's not a Google product. So, I'm very suspicious of this Lori Allan caricature. But what she does is she has a conversation with Grok, which is the AI built into X, and she says, yesterday my boyfriend found DuckDuckGo that the Dolly was owned by the Foremost Group, Chao being the CEO. I confirmed it with Grok. Then Google so she confirmed what her boyfriend found online with a search with Grok, which says, Grok says, it appears that the container ship Dali is owned by the company Foremost Group, which has Angela Chao listed as its CEO on its website. Okay, well, that's a big piece of information. I mean, that's the key to all of it. The key to all of it, now she does not provide, Lori Allan, does not provide a link to this supposed DuckDuckGo or a search or a screenshot or anything. You're just sort of forced to take her word that her boyfriend found that online. But we do know, hey, if Grok is saying something, it must have gotten it from the training material somewhere. Now, of course, letting AI confirm your conspiracy theories is like the most magnificent psyop of all psyops, folks. And this is the point. This is why when you see people who are conspiracy minded and they're not entirely 100% skeptical of all of the technocracy, if they're taking Grok, an AI put out by Elon Musk, well, he's right wing, so I can trust Grok. It doesn't matter. If you're including AI information into your theorizing, you are letting the technocrats basically rule your entire consciousness, especially if you're using it to theorize about stuff you don't have evidence for. But Grok, where did Grok get this idea, Gons? Where did Grok come up with the idea that Foremost Group owns Dolly and is connected to Synergy Marine Group?
Yeah. So first of all, there's a Hilda Hardy response here from the screenshot that this Lori lady posted. And it says, Google search indicates Dolly was owned by Grace Ocean Pte. Ltd. However, that info was updated only 2 hours ago. Just saying, that should be very easy to confirm.
It is very easy.
All kinds of archives on the internet. That should be easy to confirm. But yes, to your point, Synergy Marine was
only she had provided the links that somebody could check. If only somebody over at Lori Allan and Co. would actually post their source so that it could be checked, then that would be wonderful. But as of now, it's a super secret source that her boyfriend found that changed, and you just got to take her word for it.
Yeah. So again, Angela Chao, the late Angela Chao, she was the company chair and CEO of Foremost Group, a global leader in the dry bulk shipping industry, founded by her father. Okay, so you go, and the company being listed as the owner of this ship that ran into the bridge is Synergy Marine, right? Synergy Marine is part of one of the groups. Well, you go to the Synergy Group website, synergymarinegroup.com. This is something it's like a press thing that was published in 2021. And here's what it says. The title of this article is Synergy Group's Ship Management Deal with Oldendorf. And it says Synergy Marine Group, GmbH, a subsidiary of Synergy Group, has signed an agreement to manage part of the bulk carrier fleet owned by Oldendorf Carriers, one of Germany's foremost ship owners and one of the world's leading dry bulk operators. Now, if you're an AI and all you know is language sort of matching a word for a word, you read this sentence. Oh, there it is. Foremost.
It is the perfect piece of training material for AI to hallucinate a fact that doesn't exist. It's an article about a partnership. It's an article about, business to business transactions. And the series of words includes, hey, we're partnering with the Foremost shipping company or whatever.
Yeah.
So this is one of the very rare times where you can actually track down where the mistake in AI happened. And, when it comes to, conspiracy thinking is so mainstream now. I was telling Gons before the show, it's really weird that formerly, fringy, conspiracy-minded shows are sort of required to become debunking shows nowadays. If the search for truth is truly the point of a show like this or anybody else's, you're going to have to start doing as much debunking as you are, tracking down sources and theorizing yourself. I mean, here we have the Grok, which is the touted as the AI that is plugged into the global hive mind, which is Twitter, and where the free speech zone where anybody can say anything, which is not true, without fear of reprisals or whatever. It's the perfect place for a technocratic institution to absolutely control the message, or if not control the message, which definitely is part of it, do a wonderful job of muddying the waters, working up the masses into a bit of a frenzy about something, and have instant access to put these theories on record, which does what? Creates news for the mainstream legacy news media. We've been talking about how the mainstream legacy news media is now working in tandem with alternative media. On one hand, becoming a foil to alt media, creating vacuums of information that alt media can fill, and of course playing villain from start to finish the whole time. But now we have something that has also been going on for quite some time, but is now sort of categorically a part of the system, which is alt media becoming a feeding trough for legacy news media. We have this new system where it's not just the mainstream news and alternative news. We have mainstream news and alternative news locked in a cosmic dance with one another, where they are creating the stories for each other to pit the different groups of people against each other, and which is why we've been hammering so hard recently on the difference between alternative media and independent media. Now, Gantz has been also feeding his developing theory onto the show here about how any of us, any individual person, as well as independent media, attempts going on in this world, are sort of at risk of becoming how would you call it? Rogue intelligence nodes?
Not rogue, but useful, sort of unwittingly used
assets.
Yeah, unwittingly used assets. If you're publishing anything online, you're effectively putting your hand up and saying, hey, intelligence people, you can use me or not for your purposes or whatever, because it can be repurposed, it can be reported on, all kinds of methods for any citizen to be caught up into things that they have no idea they're getting caught up in.
Exactly. And the idea that you would be able to tell between whether you're being used as an asset or not is just the height of hubris. I mean, they have a century of, in practice, manipulating assets without them even knowing about it to accomplish their ends. They're experts at it. They invent it. I mean, they are the sort of modern versions of the magicians that control the narrative, the worldview of masses of people. Of course, they're going to be able to wield any alt or independent person as an asset for some grand narrative. And I think especially in moments like this, where people are not so, they're so tied up in being the first one to come out with a theory. They're so invested in making sure they are, have the theory that nobody else has, or they're making the connections, that it's already puts them and us. I'm saying we are a part of this. This has become a central focus for us in this show recently, which is being extraordinarily mindful of ways that we could be used for some sort of grander narrative. And that's why we think, our goal used to just be, hey, let's all figure out how to analyze and deconstruct media together so we know who's pulling our strings. Hopefully it's, hopefully nobody is, but it's a long process to sort of, it's an ongoing process. It's an everyday battle to stay ahead of those who want to manipulate our worldview. But recently, it's become much more complicated.
Yeah.
And when
I just want to say that, back to the whole bridge collapse situation, specifically, it doesn't mean that there isn't a connection between the whole Angela Chao situation and this event.
Yeah.
Maybe she knew they were going to try to do something like that, and she didn't like it and tried to put a stop to it or push back on it, and they took her out. Who knows? But those speculations could be, especially when they're supercharged by a little bit of not correct information. I don't want to say misinfo, just not correct information.
Right.
It could bring a whole bunch of people, well-meaning people, trying to figure out the truth and just keep them distracted. Moving in a direction that doesn't really progress the greater awareness of what's going on, and they get really stoked about other things, other issues that. Again, it's like the whole thing about. How I mentioned how conservatism will be the vehicle for technocracy, and then we're all just making it happen now without thinking about it. Yeah,
unexpectedly, it turns out that conservatism seems to be the main driver of technocratic utopia.
Yeah.
Which
was not expected. Yeah. So again, we're not dismissing the possibilities that there are connections with all of this, especially you talk about, the Mitch McConnell thing. There's a whole lot there. But on this particular point with the ownership of the vessel, I think we pretty much debunked it. Did we not?
Yeah, it's debunked. And it looks like some people were catching up. Sorry.
Great.
Go for it.
Get
to the bunker!
The debunker bunker.
You're right. We got to take every opportunity we can to play that.
Yeah,
play
it's
that
a fun
jingle.
jingle. So other people found this article and are posting the...
No, nobody is finding the source that we found.
Okay,
so,
great.
No, I know. I'm scrolling through here. And of course, thankfully, there was always some... skeptics trying to find a connection. Nobody could find the connection between these companies because the connection didn't exist that is publicly available.
Publicly available.
But then, you have Lori Allan and her Grok conversation. A lot of people were just taking that Grok conversation as gospel, and the fact they're taking Lori Allan's word that her boyfriend found an article that she didn't link to and wouldn't give
Is her boyfriend a lizard man in a hoodie?
Yeah, is her boyfriend CIA? I mean, can we ask?
Who's the boyfriend? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just very interesting, and these are the details. Man, oh man, it is getting more and more sort of cognitively taxing to be able to track down where these types of theories are falling apart. And now you don't even have, like, you used to just have to think like a person, think like a reporter. What is a reporter writing here? Where would a reporter where would a journalist get this information? Where would this source exist? And now we're having to sit back and do all that, but then also think, oh, how would an AI come to this? Where
think like a large language model, Basil, with the words just flashing before your eyes, and you must make a connection.
Yeah, we're having to build the skills to look into the infinite black box of data that is a large language model and try to use that as sort of a lead to figure out where this may have come from. And you found that, which I was just so impressed with, and I think is absolutely right on. That foremost connection you found.
Yeah, thank the Lord, because that's the kind of stuff, we're not looking exactly for that, just poking around.
Well,
and wow.
And that's the fun part. That's the fun part about being hooked into the Lord and the supernatural and, following the Holy Spirit for what we're doing here, is because by no strength of our own, by no human intellect or strength should it be possible to find the source of a large language model's hallucination. And it can only be through the power of God that could be revealed. So that's fun.
That. Yeah.
All right. Well, Gons, I don't know if you know this or not, but it is Wednesday, my dude.
Oh, great.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
Hey guys, know what date it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the Canary Cry News Talk. Yeehaw!
Wednesday, my dude. It my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dude.
Really? Nah.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to who's this guy? Venomnimus.
Venomous? Like anonymous venom?
Says they took the conversation as Groxple.
Ah,
That's
there it
pretty
is.
good. We're having
There you
fun.
go.
Dad
Good
jokes are
job.
allowed here. All right. Yeah, it's Wednesday. We're having a good time. We, I don't know. You got anything to talk about here before we jump in?
No, I think I I took up about 3 episodes worth of personal stuff last episode. So let's keep it moving. Move it along.
The Textedly, the text message service we use says,
Yes.
we are looking into this and see why this issue is happening specifically with my browser. For now, you will need to try an alternate browser if possible.
Oh.
I'm going to have
All
to use
the
an
alternates.
alternate
It's all about
browser.
the alternative media, alternative universe, and alternative textedly.
Which is not easy to do because they have this
You gotta
weird...
log in.
Yeah, you gotta log in. I gotta remember a password. And
Yeah, look, they want everybody chipped, you know. They
They
want
really
your
don't make it easy.
biometrics. I think that's the point. It's like, hey, look, we're going to make it as hard as possible to log into your account. Could I interest you in this little microchip that just does it for you?
Yeah, and these guys do a specifically strange thing, which is even if you do,
Oops, sorry.
even if you do get your password correct, they also want to send something to your email with a link to log in. And if I have to go on an entirely different browser, like this is just going to be a total nightmare. I'm going to try to do it though. I'm going to try to do it.
Okay.
How's
All right.
AOD4 going?
It's going. It's coming together. I'm very excited. I been working on some more things. You know, it's interesting how you have a thesis, you have years of research on that topic, and then as you put together everything, more stuff comes out, and you got to figure out, okay, is this evergreen enough? You know, like newer information, is it evergreen enough? And a lot of times it's like, yeah, I think so. And then you find other things where it's just like, man, I guess I'll include this because it's just so interesting. And it has a lot to do with Bitcoin and the end times, and there's a lot of math, and there's some math in this film this time and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's fun. I'm excited to show more of it to our focus group. So, stay tuned. I'm really itching to get that thing going.
Yeah, he really is. So I think we have a couple things that we need to. Of course, I forgot my password. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we've been
nightmare.
Passwords are a thing right now.
It is really
I can't log
hard.
into like half of our stuff because passwords keep changing. So
How many things does it take to run this show? It's like 30 different accounts.
Yeah,
on 30 different things.
on the list we have like 30. Yeah, but I think there's
So,
more.
did you tell the story of your most recent AOD4 disaster? Did that ever
A little
get
bit, yeah. That's
out on
why
the
I was
air?
kind of upset last week. I think it was last Monday, or maybe it was it was last Wednesday's episode. I was really grumpy because
Yeah.
I had lost
You
half
lost
the
about
edit and
50 hours of work. down
yeah,
the
I just
drain.
I was able to recover pretty much all of it, but it took a lot of cutting and pasting from old sessions and putting back together some stuff that went missing in the new. I mean, so it was just a mess. But yeah, we're back on track. So I'm ready to share it with at least the focus group to get it going.
Yeah, good. No, we're getting pretty dang close to launching that. Now, there's a couple of things related to what you just mentioned, Gons. One of them is that the attempt was being made to have the DVDs for Age of Deceit 4 in this first quarter supply drop. Which, depending on how things go for you and the movie, most likely the DVDs will not be ready for this next supply drop going out. We have a replacement for it, which is going to be awesome, and everybody's going to love it. And everybody who signed up who would have received the DVD, you will still be receiving the DVD, so do not fret. But so there's that. Number one, had to make that announcement. Unless, something happens and the Lord performs an amazing miracle, and then it'll be in there. But then the focus group. Yes, there's lots of questions about the focus group. Now, because we'll be rolling out the focus group on a platform that exists, this very robust platform that we'll be using as a stage one to get everybody in together as a community, working together. It's going to be fun. It's going to be gamified. It's going to be dope. I'm very excited about it. We will be sending out a few different emails, like to beta groups of people who have signed up for the supply drop. We cannot get everybody in like on the same day, so we're going to do it in chunks. So keep an eye out on your email this week and next week for your turn in line to get into the focus group platform there. That's going to be very fun. And yeah, we should get rolling on the focus group like so soon, as long as there's no issues getting people in the platform. And the reason why I'm sort of tampering down that possibility is because this platform likes to be the payment processor for things like this. And so we have to kind of go around some barriers to get people in, because we cannot rely on them for a payment processing. You guys know how it is. This whole thing. But keep an eye out on your email over the next maybe 8 days. There will be several rounds of emails going out. It will include your information on how to get in on the platform, and the focus group shall be starting soon. So remember, there's still time, and honestly, just to be transparent, we do need more people to sign up for the focus group. So go to canarycry.tube. You can read all about the mission. We're building out our own infrastructure so we don't have to rely on all these technocratic platforms that are ultimately under the control of the corporatocracy, no matter how much they claim to be free speech enjoyers. We believe that this is the absolute most important thing that somebody like us could be doing, and we hope to create the system so that we can help others set it up when their time comes. So go to canarycry.tube, sign up for a monthly producership at any amount that you want. The idea is, we're trading in our big tech Netflix, Hulu subscriptions who hate us and just want to control our minds and load us up with triggers that can be used for psyops. And then take our power, our money away from them and put it towards an actual truly independent mission to stay independent, not just from corporate advertisers and corporate controls, but also ideological conflict, ideological takeover, the whole thing. We have to, this is a lot of people have been talking about the parallel economy recently. The idea of the parallel economy is starting to become more well known. People are understanding it. People are understanding that it's an absolute necessity. Without a parallel economy, there is no power to change the system. And it, revolves around at some macro level, taking power, which is money in this case, out of the hands of the corporations and putting it into the hands in the parallel economy operating outside that system. And this is a great opportunity to do that. And, you'll be in a cool group of cool people who are cool, and you're also cool. So do that over at canarycry.tube. And remember, your producership, your signer-uppership for your monthly producership will instantly be doubled by Sir Jamie, who is just itching to match some people's producership here. So if nothing else, for the sake of Sir Jamie, not the Lannister, go sign up for a monthly producership there, because he is raring to go.
Just as a point to drive home the canarycry.tube, we are building our own sort of parallel to the economic system, but so is the mainstream media. They have also been building a parallel economy, and it looks like the alt media. So
yes, exactly.
It's a Buckminster Fuller type of parallel economy. There's a quote by Buckminster Fuller. I don't have it in front of me. I was trying to look for it when you were talking there, but
that is exactly the point, Gons. Thank you for making that. Which is. We're talking about this parallel economy. It is an absolute. I mean, some very, serious thinkers and doers in the sort of parallel economy idea have made it very clear that it is really the only way that any serious change will be made. And it's not a secret that the mainstream doesn't know. And we've been talking about being wary of the alt media industrial complex, which we've seen so many reasons why that is the case. And it's exactly as you say, Gons. When alt media is wrapped up in corporate money, it is just the parallel economy for the mainstream legacy news media. Yeah, incredible. All right, Gons. Well, with that, I think we should thank some executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right, folks. We're on the value for value model, which means we take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels, and we are entirely funded by people who get value from this show. Power to the people, baby! And that could be you. It could be you. Is it you? I don't know. We got to do it together. It's the only way. And it's very simple. If you get value from this show, you just have the opportunity to put value back in.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Sorry.
gosh.
I am
It
having...
is wild over there today, guys.
I don't know what's going on.
He's
My
losing
fingers
control.
Yeah, these jingle boards are...
Yeah, it's okay. It's keeping it exciting.
It's hot.
Keeping people
Yeah, it's hot.
engaged. So there you go. You guys know the deal. It's value for value. We would not exist because we are not taking money from commies or corporations or cartels. We would not exist if it weren't for people like you saying, oh, this brings value to my life. I want to put value back in. And you do it with your time, your talent, or your treasure. It's not all about money. However you want to bring value to the show, we are here to receive it. And by extension, thousands of people around the world are here to receive your value. And you're not just doing it for you, you're doing it for a bunch of people who are on the same page. And that's why the producers truly are heroes. And the executive producers are those who come in with $100 or more for any individual episode. And we like to thank them here at the top.
Yep.
Okay. Geez Louise, I'm sitting here doing really a magnificent job of trying to change our password and
like
gain access to the text message alert system. And I'm on a new browser, and it is doing the exact same problem. There's just no text today. Sorry, folks. I don't know what to do.
Maybe it got taken out.
And it is, yeah, I don't know. All right. Here we go. Let's thank some producers. Ready, Guns?
Let's do it. Yes.
Well, of course. You know, I know, we all know. The man, the myth, the legend, executive producer, Sir Alex Protocol, V2, Night of the Berean Protocol is here.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you, Sir Alex Protocol V2.
Coming in for $100 and 33 cents. 277 episodes in a row. 75 episodes of an executive producer streak.
Just a quick side note, going back to the Angela Chao thing. This is why you should listen to the breaks, because we'll drop little nuggets like this. When her blood alcohol level, when they found her, dead, was 0.233 at the time of accident.
Wow, yeah. How convenient!
How convenient, yes. But anyway, just reminded of it because of the 33
That's good.
cents.
You got to sprinkle it in to reward the people.
Oh my gosh, what is going on? What is happening today?
Continue. He's losing control of the system. Next up, we've got executive producer. We know this. Whenever it's a slow day, whenever we are in trouble, Guns, we know we can count on Sir Alex Protocol to give us a base to work off of, like a true champion. But then we always know that our knight in shining armor will show up, and that is executive producer Felicia D.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you, Felicia D.
Thank you very much.
Dame in shining armor.
That's right. And that concludes our list of financial producers. I'm sorry, our list of executive producers who came in for this episode. It was a slow day today, so we will just go through the list, Gons, right?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, next up, these are people who produce the show under the executive producer amount, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. Let's see what we got. Starting with Sir Marty K, Night of the Wrong Timeline.
Hey, Sir Marty K.
Yeah. Sir Marty K comes in for $66.77.
Okay.
Fun.
6677.
And Sir Marty came in with a note here. He says, hey, fellas, after listening to Monday's episode, I think something strange happened last week. I have to show you the receipt, or else it's just going to sound like a cool story, bro story. So bear with me.
Okay.
First, one day at work, 2 white swans popped up.
Okay.
This little video
Let's
here. We
see.
have this
2
video
white
of
swans.
2
Yes.
white swans. Sir Marty K is looking down into some sort of body of water, and we've got a couple of white swans. Indeed, they are white swans. Seems to be walking over some sort of footbridge, which is, as I understand it, something that Denmark is famous for. Footbridges. Northern Europe, they love their footbridges and canals. And there it is, 2 swans. Okay, then it says the next day at work, white rabbit popped up.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah, we've got a white rabbit popping up, yes, and here we are. He's on a sidewalk, and that looks like somebody's pet. That seems like somebody's pet white rabbit has escaped. It's kind of a floppy-eared, kind of big, chubby bunny. White rabbit. Did you chase it? If you're walking down the sidewalk and you see this white rabbit in front of you, you know you have to just follow it until wherever it goes.
Yeah.
Maybe
back to CERN, back to the portal.
Yeah, or maybe, some kidnapping gang has trained it to lure unsuspecting conspiracy theorists into some sort of, I don't know, not blackmail operation, but who knows?
Yeah,
okay.
Assisting the apparatus. We had Cicada 3301, and we're pretty sure that was like an intelligence recruitment tool who can crack the code.
Exactly.
Now we got White Rabbit. I don't know.
Talking about the CERN thing?
Yeah, the CERN thing.
Yeah, CERN thing.
Yeah.
So, 2 white swans, then a white rabbit. And the third night, when I was out and about, I looked at the moon and saw a sky that looked like an angry eye of Osiris. And here we go, the video. This was actually quite surprising. It's a cloudy night in Denmark, and he looks up, and there's the moon, nice full moon, but the clouds surrounding the moon, along with the moonshine, the moonlight reflecting off of them, looks really suspiciously, almost perfectly, like the Eye of Osiris symbol that we see in so many occult things. It's the eyeball with kind of the line above, the line below, the little eye socket with sort of the teardrop type of thing. And there it is, right there in the sky for Sir Marty K. And Sir Marty K ends his note with, "What do you think? Am I crazy? Yours truly, Marty K." No, I can't say that you're crazy. You're not crazy. All of those things do exist. I'm looking right at them, if indeed these videos are to be believed.
Now, if the swans were black, that would be the extra level of strangeness. I would go home, hug your family.
Yes, if there were black swans, that'd be different. But this is interesting. I think it brings up, I understand the impulse to want to check in on this, specifically through previous conversations I've had, specifically on the Joyspiracy theory, where some of the people who have been guests have spent many years in the occult or in the magical practices, and a lot of this has to do with synchronicities. This would be read as some sort of esoteric experience, some sort of synchronistic magical happening. And from what I can discern from the conversations I've had, it's best not to pursue these when they show up, because that will just be asking for more and more of these things, which inevitably leads down to some pretty dramatic life experiences. So I'd say, folks, if you're out there, you see a white rabbit, you see the Eye of Horus, just keep on walking and keep your sights on the Lord, because again, just speaking from the conversations, and I've had many of them from practicing magicians and former occult members, it's this sort of synchronicity type of cascading effect is what can really send your life down kind of a crazy making hole. I'm not saying that Marty K is at risk of this, just saying what I know. So thank you very much, Sir Marty K, Now to the Wrong Timeline, for your producership.
Yep, thank you very much.
Next up, we have producer Elio coming in for 1111.
Elio.
1111.
Thank you.
And on a similar note, on an 11-episode streak.
Hey, there you go.
Fun. Next up, we got Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda, comes in for $7.99, which
Thank you,
does
Sir Darren.
technically entitle him to have a note read on the show, but I did not see a note from the man himself. So maybe he is just coming in, supporting the show. He did post some just specifically awesome art that he made on Twitter that we'll be thanking him for. Oh, wait, there is a note here. Hold on. Oh, the note is Happy Wednesday. Thank you. Thank you. Happy Wednesday from Sir Darren out of the Hungry Panda.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. And that concludes the list of financial producers who came in over $7.77, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. Appreciate it. We do have our big streakers left on the list, so we'll thank them very quickly, starting with Sir Tristan, Knight of the Garden, 20 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Tristan.
Doctor Who Dundat, 74 in a row.
Thank you, Dr. Who Dundat.
Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman, 34 in a row.
Thank you, Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman.
Sir Moore of Knight of the Burning Chariots, 347.
Thank you, Sir Moore.
Veronica D, 379.
Thank you, Veronica D.
Got Dame Gale, 375.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, 404.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
And, of course, we got Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Thank you, everybody who came in to support this show. We really appreciate it. It was a lighter day, but, it seems like that's kind of the pattern nowadays with our what is it, Wednesday to Monday live, I don't know, abyss, where we don't go live between Wednesday and Monday. It seems like the Wednesday show is a bit on the more chill side, so we appreciate that. But remember, folks, the show can only continue with the participation of producers. Not every single producer has to produce every single episode, but as long as everybody's being honest and participatory in the value for value model, the show will go on.
Yep.
Of course, we've got people who came in with their time and their talent later on down the road here, but thank you very much. If you want to learn more, go to canarycry.support.
That's true. All right.
Back at it.
We flipping
flipping.
burgers
Let's
now?
flip.
What are we doing? Flip. Here we go. Where's Flippy? Flippy?
Flip,
Where are you?
flip,
There you are.
Philadelphia.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. Time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways the robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. Today's Flippy update is coming from the New York Post, and a general rule for the Flippy update is we are specifically talking about disembodied robot arms that are making their way into our hearts, making their way into our lives, being the mind control devices that are so effectively convincing us that robots have a place in our lives and in our world. It has been a general rule to avoid stories about prosthetic advancements, because that's an entirely different conversation. However, this one seemed so significant that it fits into the broader idea of the Flippy update and what it means for all of our minds and all of our souls. This is coming from New York Post here, and it says, the headline is, Hamas blew off his arm. Fellow IDF soldiers mistook him for the enemy. Now combat medic gets state-of-the-art robotic prosthetic in New York City. I will have a normal life, he says. Whoa. There we go. Wow. My entire screen disappeared, and now I'm back. At 20, so, okay, so it's right that there's a series of events here, folks. Tune in, because a lot of stuff happened here. At 21 years old, Ron Harir is alive against all odds. When the flurry of frantic texts from his fellow Israeli Defense Forces friends started pouring in at a frenzied clip on the morning of October 7th, urgent pleas reading, "Come quickly, they're killing us," the off-duty IDF combat medic who was on vacation knew he had to spring into action. So we got a hero on our hands here. Harir, who was due to finish his army service the following month, isn't that always how it goes? I was this close to retirement, raced to his infiltrated Nahal Oz army base amidst heavy Hamas fire to find his friends injured, burnt, and killed on that apocalyptic day. He defended his base and treated as many soldiers as possible for hours before embarking on a rescue mission to help a group of soldiers who were surrounded by terrorists. That move would change his life forever. Harir's APC, that's Armored Personnel Carrier, was hit by a Cornet missile, sending him flying into the air and ripping off his entire right arm. After dipping in and out of consciousness alone for hours, he was presumed dead and nearly shot after being mistaken for a Hamas terrorist before he could muster the energy to prove his identity. He spent 5 days in a coma after being airlifted to Soroka Hospital with his mother singing his favorite John Denver songs by his side. Quite the storytelling here. Quote, "It was a 50-50 chance I may not wake up," Harir told the Post, noting the grueling 2-month hospital recovery. Yet he considers himself one of the lucky ones. Quote, "They thought I was dead," he said. Quote, "Most people would have died with those injuries in minutes. I had a miracle." Quote, a lot of my friends got injured that day. My best friend was killed," added Harari, who lost 18 friends on that Black Saturday. Jeez Louise. Life will never be the same for the young man who hoped to travel to South America with friends for 6 months, once finished with army service before. But he is determined to move forward with life with strength and fortitude. Of course, there's stuff I can't do like I did before, but it's okay. I will have a normal life. The best doctors and specialists in New York will see to that. So, truly, I mean, as far as a human story goes, this is like legendary. This is a legendary story that really plays through every single pain point and every single reward center in the brain, and it only stands to reason that it would go something like this. Harir is in town to see top doctors at Columbia to help treat the shrapnel in the side of his face and in his eye, working with his primary doctor, Dr. Omri Allan of NYU Center for Amputation Reconstruction, as he readies for his robotic prosthetic. And then there's this image here of the robotic prosthetic, which is really one of the most advanced looking things as far as prosthetic goes that I have ever seen. You've got a robotic arm, a sort of oversized hand with carbon fiber fingers, a carbon fiber forearm going up to a robotic looking shoulder, and which is attached to a very robust looking, basically breastplate, like a piece of robotic armor that he will wear on his chest, attaching the prosthetic to his body. The nature of his injury is so complex and rare that it even stymied Israeli doctors used to grave injuries. Quote, "Israel doesn't see so many amputees like this. They don't know how to do this in Israel. They don't have the capability," said Rabbi Uriel Vigler, founder of the NYC-based Belev Echad, a group meaning one heart in Hebrew, which supports the needs of Harir and other injured soldiers. So in addition to the trip that Belev Echad sponsored for Harir and other injured soldiers, taking in a Knicks game, getting Apple Pro goggles to help with his vision,
peering out placement ad right there for Apple
there
Pro.
We go. Good job, Apple. Good get. Peering out the perch of the vertiginous The Edge, Harir saw specialists fashioning his new prosthetic. And it kind of goes into a bit of it here. There's more quotes about how it's a miracle he's alive. Where is that technical bit? Because that's the fun part. Well, let's start here. "It's a miracle he's alive. He had his whole arm blown off. He has no shoulder. His story is crazy and insane," said Hershey Dauber of Orthocraft. Orthocraft. Marveling at the young man's will to live, Dauber said the prosthesis is, quote, as high-tech as it comes, utilizing AI technology that can map Harir's nerves with more than a dozen sensors all around the front and back of his chest and shoulder that picks up patterns to predict his movements. Quote, when he wants to do a motion, the computer AI knows what tasks he wants to do, Dauber said, of the pattern recognition software that senses what he wants to do. Quote, the prosthetic does the task.
What if he wants to punch someone? You can't.
Dude, he's got a robot wingman ready to fight.
He's got to tamper his own emotions or something.
So
otherwise...
that is one of the things that made this crossover into Flippy update territory. This is not just a prosthetic that has like some motorized fingers. We've seen that is not necessarily exciting enough or relevant enough for the Flippy update. But basically what this guy has is a disembodied arm, an entire Flippy setup, not just something that, sticks on his shoulder and he can kind of move it around and move the fingers, which we've seen some pretty incredible things happen. But in the end, it's just more of a puppet. It's not a robotic arm. It's a puppet controlled by the person wearing it. But this thing could stand entirely alone and operate and work and do a thing. It is a disembodied robotic arm that just happens to be accepted and to become bodied on this fellow. And the fact that it's equipped with this high-level AI, much like all our favorite Flippies, this is maybe the most literal crossover from Flippy as an employee, or Flippy as an individual, to Flippy becoming a part of this man's life. And not just becoming a part of this man's life, the reason that this man can have, quote, a normal life. When he woke up from the coma and realized his arm was gone, quote, the first thing I said was, okay, cool, I'll be bionic. I have no choice. It's not going to help me cry and go down, he said. So
the first thing he thought of was, I'm going to be cyborg, basically.
Are you ready to become cyborg?
Yeah, and this was not, in the hospital where he was getting the robotic arm. This is when he came out of his coma in Israel. He woke up before he knew anything about this arm. And the instant thought was, okay, I'll be a bionic. Here we go. Which I think says so much about the progress that we've made, not just technologically, where somebody can just be like, yep, okay, I guess I get a robotic arm now. Because it is impressive. The technology is getting to the place that it is. But again, the focus of the Flippy update, not just the technology, but the status of our hearts and our minds towards robotic arms. And it was so immediate and so automatic that, yes, okay, I'll be a bionic now. This is great. And look, I'm happy for this guy. I'm not, we've been having the conversation, my gosh, for a decade or more about cyborgism, restoring capabilities or improving
restoration versus enhancement.
Yes, we've been having this conversation longer than anybody else that I know. So we're not going to rehash that conversation. But I thought it was just fascinating that the first thought that this young man has after waking up from not just a bad day, but a horrific injury.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
There is no other generation that would have woken up from something like this and thought like, oh no worries, just give me that robot arm,
the robotic arm.
Just give me a robot.
I'll just be a cyborg now.
Yeah, and it goes to show the psychological state of this generation. He's 21 years old. They've been fed enough. Talk about predictive programming in a time of crisis. You identify with what you've been fed. A lot of science fiction the last 20 plus years. I'm sure he just colloquially understood that he could be some kind of bionic or cyborg or something like that. He's like, yeah, we got the technology. We know it's out there. So no stress, Hey, let's do it. Let's get that robot arm on me. So
yeah.
I just thought it was an interesting thing that it was his first thought. The first thing I said was, give me a robot arm, basically. So,
and the power in the context of the Flippy update, and we're seeing how robots are, making their way into our hearts and our minds. The power of connecting this to October 7th.
Yes.
Perhaps the most emotionally relevant trigger that has been installed in all of our hearts and minds. Either way, whatever side of that you fall on, there's no denying that that it is the most effective current emotional trigger that can be called upon by the media at any moment here. Whether, no matter what they're trying to get you to accept or to consider, it doesn't really matter. It's the triggering of the event in your software that is used as the psyop for the psyop, and triggering the emotions is what makes the idea stick. It ends here with, our vision at Belev Echad is to shut down the organization. The sooner the better. We pray every day that there will be no more wars, only peace, and that all the wounded should be healed, said the Upper East Side based Rabbi Vigler. Quote, this is the era of the, this is the part.
Yeah,
now
this
listen
is the
to
part
this.
that
Listen to
really
this.
got me going.
So everything we just said ends with this. Rabbi Vigler, this is the era of the Messiah. The Messiah. Mashiach, yeah.
The Messiah, yeah.
The Messiah. This is the era of the Messiah. But until that day comes, we will be there for Ron and every wounded soldier, providing them with everything they need to heal. We pray for Ron's complete recovery. Now, who says the Flippy update ain't relevant to biblical end times prophecy? It's right here in the New York Post, connecting this horrible event, but victorious story of robotics saving the day in the context of what some people consider a holy war, and that in the era of the Messiah, they are able to do this. I mean, it's the perfect conglomeration of specifically no other robotics show, no other obsessive,
this is our
compulsive
within a
robot.
Within a niche.
This was made for the Flippy update on this show. Gotta connect the robot arm to the era of the Messiah, because we all know it's gonna happen soon. Now, of course, this is the Jewish side of the era of the Messiah, which is a little bit different from the Christian side, but we can both agree that it's going to be happening concurrently.
Yes. Given some of the thesis that I hold on to, which has not been sufficiently biblically challenged to really come off of the point, which is that the Antichrist or man of sin will present himself as the long-awaited Jewish Messiah that, the current religious Jews are waiting for their Messiah. They're waiting for certain passages, messianic passages in the Old Testament to be fulfilled. And all that I can see in the studies of the word show is that this Antichrist figure will try to fulfill those prophecies or make it look like he is fulfilling those prophecies as part of the end times deception. So, and we've talked about robotics in this context and just, AI and all these technologies in the context of the end times for a while. I'm glad somebody else is sort of putting the dots together on the other side of the aisle, so to speak, the spiritual aisle.
New York
anyway.
Times.
Yeah, or New York Post. This is New York Post. Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, a lot of things coming together, Basil, for for a Flippy update.
Again, if there is a simulation, it is hooked directly to this show. Real quick, before we move on, I want to address a confusion that's been going around the community here. I mentioned a few times in the Joyspiracy Theory episode and other places that right now our only backup YouTube channel is the Joyspiracy Theory channel. this came to mind because our YouTube viewers keep growing, which is sad, actually. We don't like that the YouTube viewership keeps growing every episode. We're glad you're here, but we are one strike away from losing the channel, and they're just going to do it at any point here. That's how they've been doing it. They won't even, it doesn't matter what we do day by day, they just go back to episodes from like years ago, find something they don't like, and they give us a strike. So they will be canceling this YouTube channel at whatever time they feel like they want to do that. So we're glad that all the new YouTube people are finding us. But the only backup we have right now is the Joyspiracy Theory channel. Now, this is a channel I started a long, long time ago and forgot about and haven't done anything about. And what was confusing is people searching for the Joyspiracy Theory actually came up with a channel that has my name on it, Basil Rosewater, and apparently this is like way too confusing for people. If you look at the what is it called? The URL,
the handle at
the handle is the Joyspiracy Theory, at the Joyspiracy Theory. So it does have Joyspiracy Theory on there. There's a bunch of Joyspiracy Theory episodes, so that is the one. But go follow that one. If you're watching this live and you don't go follow that, you might not make the next episode. So please go subscribe to that channel. It would, it's really our only chance of not losing everything when it's just whatever morning YouTube wakes up and decides they don't like us anymore. Yep, that's that. Okay. I'm ready to go when you are. I put that link in the chat for everybody to go follow that channel.
Yep. We don't have an official cancer jingle.
That's true.
But I do think Jonathan F. gave us this. It's 50 seconds, a little long for like a title jingle. But it was when Joe Biden cured cancer. I guess I'll play it just to set up the go into the segment here.
I cure cancer. He looked at me like, why cancer? Because no one thinks we can. That's why we can. We end cancer as we know it. Look at it. Elon Musk's cooperation and/or technical relationships with other countries is worthy of being looked at. Whether or not he is doing anything inappropriate, I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting that it's worth being looked at. But that's all I'll say.
CRISPR. Cas9.
Good rant,
It'll all
Joe.
make sense in a
Good
moment.
Rant, Joe.
It'll all make sense in a moment. All right, we're gonna start off by talking about this Kate Middleton situation.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it. This is just a little bit of setup, and we'll go straight into your thing. But this is just for some foundation,
sure.
Because we've been seeing a lot of cancer talk recently, and it's about time we take our skills at deconstructing, analyzing the alt media, mainstream media relationship and apply it to this situation. So, of course, we got this from Vox here. This was the sort of dramatic conclusion to the Kate Middleton conspiracy theories, where Kate Middleton went in for surgery and hadn't been seen for many, many months. And then, the internet became, it was months, and it became obsessed with conspiracy theories. Oh, this the only thing the internet cares about is conspiracy theories about Kate Middleton, which was very, very suspicious coming. I mean, it was just, I was just very skeptical of this. Like, I don't think anybody really cares that much about a conspiracy theory about where's Kate. And so it's my opinion that the obsession, and it's an obsession created by the mainstream, because the mainstream, again, you got alt media, mainstream media, they feed each other. They're in this dance together to try to harness the minds and imaginations of people who are, trying to figure out what's going on in the world. And I'm starting to think that they cannot be separated, because this conspiracy theory about Kate Middleton became a topic of conversation in the mainstream. Suddenly, it's the mainstream talking about the conspiracy theorists and all the crazy people on the internet. But it's pretty weird. And suddenly, mainstream reporters started being like, hey, actually, it is kind of weird. I mean, there's these crazy conspiracy theorists, but it kind of makes sense that they're wondering. And this strange, almost empathy that the mainstream media started having for conspiracy theorists in regard to Kate Middleton. And as everybody knows, a big hullabaloo for a while here, and culminated in this headline: Kate Middleton's cancer diagnosis is part of a frightening global trend. So she's been gone. She put out fake pictures, the whole deep fake thing. Then they put out another fake picture, and it was all very strange and weird and generating this obsession that I think now was manufactured specifically to play into this broader storyline. I'm not going to read this, but it talks about, hey, yeah, we all thought there was conspiracy theorists and she was being hidden or dead or something, and even the mainstream thought so, but turns out she just has cancer. And that's not all.
Yeah.
It's part of a frightening global trend.
Right. Yeah, it did cause a bunch of people who speculated during that time to it was a perfect it was like a what is it called, honeypot. It was like a honeypot, getting all these people to speculate all kinds of crazy things. And then when she's like, I have cancer, then all those people just look like terrible people. You know, it's like, oh, you guys are just horrible people. That's part of it, I think. But obviously it goes beyond that.
Well, and I'll add, no, I think along the same lines as you're talking about, there is that. But I think it's also did a great job the mainstream has figured out, if you want to get everybody's attention on something, you lure them in with conspiracy theory. And this is what I believe. This is what I believe happened with Kate Middleton, because nobody really claims to care that much about Kate Middleton, at least here in the United States. But what we do care about is conspiracy theories, and we love it. And so this idea, this generating this sort of frenetic frenzy on the internet about, have you heard the new conspiracy theory? Kate Middleton's dead and is being hidden in a dungeon or whatever, gathering up the attention, more attention, because nobody in our fringy, weird little space cares at all about the royal family, except for their lizard people. Like that's it. That's the most. But how do you get a bunch of people who don't care about maybe the royal family, or maybe where this will lead, to care about it? Well, you create a conspiracy theory. You put it out there, put out a fake picture. It was obvious that the fake picture was on purpose. It was so poorly edited that a child could have done a better job than that poorly edited photo. It was obviously intentional to gain more and more attention on the conspiracy theory. And once you hit some sort of critical mass of attention, then you get your one and only chance to divert that attention to what you really want to talk about. And in this case, it's the frightening global trend of young people getting cancer. And you may have noticed, dear listener, that the mainstream in the past, I'd say 3 weeks especially, has been absolutely panicking about young people getting cancer, the rates of cancer. Every single outlet has multiple articles a day exploring what's going on with the cancer diagnoses of this and that. I think the royal family, the whole thing, including King Charles and the princess's cancer diagnosis, which here over on MSN.com so lovingly diverted people to this headline: Kate Middleton and King Charles bond amid cancer diagnosis. The daughter he never had. And this is a big deal because allegedly Kate and King Charles never really got along, but now they're really getting along, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, they got something in common, let me tell you.
It's a beautiful script that's being followed, and an incredibly effective strategy. So I am now convinced that any broadly talked about conspiracy theory must be assumed to be a fishing net to then divert our attention to something else. And in this case, the Kate thing is let's get into that, because you can really see step by step how this game is being played.
Yeah. So there's a Business Insider article here. The headline is "Charts Show a Sharp Rise in the Rate of Young Adults Getting Cancer Before 50." Now, this was published on March 22nd, 322, last Friday, the same day as Kate Middleton announcing her cancer. So it seems a little coordinated, doesn't it? For the whole, the mainstream picking up this story, as you'll see in a moment here. But also, Kate announcing it on 322. Pretty good. So let's see what this says here. And I like we'll read the bullet points and then we'll get into the article. Bullet points. Data analyzed by Business Insider shows a sharp rise in young people being diagnosed with cancer. So Business Insider doing their own analysis. Meanwhile, rates of cancer diagnosis and death is dropping in older people. Experts say healthy young people are presenting with advanced stage cancer. The rate of young adults being diagnosed with cancer has risen sharply in the last 30 years, particularly in high-income countries. Researchers aren't sure why. Why is there so much cancer? Take this chart, for instance. Rising rate of young people getting cancer. And there's just a line chart. You got the y-axis, which is the percentage of people getting cancer. You got the x-axis, which is the years. It takes it from about 1975 to a little past 2015. And the blue line shows aged 15 to 39, and got kind of high during the late 80s going into the 90s, and it dipped back down by the 2000s. And then it's just been a straight, pretty much increase up to the right since then for the young people. Whereas the old people, they really, especially the 65 to 74 age range, their cancer peaked out in 1992, and it's actually been declining since then to the point where it's much lower than the alleged 15 to 39-year-olds. Yeah.
Yes, and this is when Business Insider's analysis of the numbers becomes very, misleading.
Sneaky. Yeah,
It's misleading because it's not that less people over 50 are getting cancer. They're making it sound like young people are getting cancer more and old people are getting cancer less. And that's not true.
It says it right
graphs
here.
that they are showing is the percentages.
Yes.
There's a higher percentage of young people getting cancer, which necessitates numbers being taken away from another group, which is the older population. So it's not that less 50-year-olds are getting cancer, is that the ratio between young and old is flipping.
Right. And it explains it here, I mean, in plain language, but people may not, put two and two together. In the U.S., the rate of cancer diagnosed in those under 40 increased a staggering 35.4% from 1975 to 2019, according to a Business Insider analysis of federal data. It's a global trend. UK-specific data shows 22% increase in under 50s getting cancer since the early 90s. A recent study published in the BMJ showed a steady rise in millennials being diagnosed with cancer worldwide, with the sharpest rate seen in high-income countries, including the U.S. and Western Europe. Business Insider's analysis of young adult cancer rates in G20 countries shows a fast, uniform increase. Oh, modernity, Basil, it's killing us all.
Yeah, it really is.
While cancer screening is dramatically increased, helping to prevent cancer deaths, the rise in young cancer cases can't be accounted for by increased screening. Quote, we're seeing more higher stage tumors and more aggressive tumors in young people, much higher compared to older patients. Shuji Ogino, a epidemiologist and cancer researcher at Harvard Medical School, told Business Insider. If it were the result of screening, Ogino says, we would expect to be finding more early stage cancers. That's not the case. Young people who seem relatively healthy are being diagnosed with advanced stage cancers. This includes people, and this is important, the people they highlight as sort of the poster child of this young cancer. This includes people like Chadwick Boseman, who died at age 43. And Chadwick Boseman, of course, is the man who played the Black Panther in the Black Panther movie. Wakanda Forever, Afrofuturism. Boseman was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer at age 39 at the peak of his career. He continued to perform in major movies, including Black Panther, until he died. And then they mentioned Kate Middleton, who just turned 42, announced on March 22nd that she was diagnosed with cancer after abdominal surgery, though she will not be disclosing the type or stage of cancer. So interesting. Dr. David Liska, a colorectal cancer surgeon at the Cleveland Clinic, told Business Insider he and his colleagues are struggling to understand the trend. And this is where I think you talked about the mainstream and the alt media and the symbiosis.
This is where they're feeding off each other.
Discussing this for a long time. And just pay attention to what they're not addressing. They're not addressing the big conspiratorial elephant in the room.
Yeah, we're going to leave it. We all know. We all know.
We know.
What we're not allowed to say, okay?
Yeah. Here's what it says.
We're not going to say it because we don't want to get kicked off of YouTube at this exact moment. But just because we're not going to say the words doesn't mean we don't know, because we all know. And that's exactly part of the point we're going to make here.
Yeah. Quote, as clinicians almost daily, we see young people have cancer where they're healthy, they're obviously young, they eat well, they do not have a genetic condition, and then we are left scratching our heads, he says.
Scratching our heads.
Many researchers, including Ogino, point to Western lifestyles, which have radically reshaped how we live compared to previous generations. Liska said the proliferation of fast food, unhealthy diets, sedentary lifestyles, and poor sleep schedules likely don't help. Which, by the way, all those happened, more so in the last few years, especially to something that happened there. Quote, but we also see these individual cases which are becoming more and more common that are exceptions that you can't explain. There's something else at play here. And, there's something else at play here as well that we need to understand better, end quote.
Mystery.
Well, what could it be? Basil, they're just mystified. What is it?
I couldn't even begin to guess. It's a mystery. That's sort of the nature of mystery.
Yeah, they go on to talk about a bunch of stuff later.
Yeah,
on,
and
the details of the cancer types.
It's all the classic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: every single outlet is writing multiple articles about this every day. This sudden explosion in cancer, this young, mysterious cancer. It's happening just now. Oh my gosh. Can you see this? Now, if you read it, you'll notice they talk about a 30-year timeline, but the way that it's being presented in headlines, the way that it's hitting every single news outlet at the same time is giving this impression that this is happening right now. This is new. This is happening. It's happening right now.
Look at Kate Middleton. See?
And
it's happening rapidly right now.
And there's a big mystery. There's a big mystery. There's a vacuum. Folks, you read article after article after article about these mysterious young people cancers, and there is an obvious vacuum of one explanation that everybody is assuming. Okay?
Yeah.
You know the one.
Yeah.
Every single article is dancing around almost as if they are begging you to fill in the blank yourself. Very rarely do they even say, like, oh, there's a conspiracy theory that blah, blah, blah.
Not even that.
They're not even saying that. It is one of these weird things where the absence of the reference is screaming louder than referencing it ever could. And this is when we get into the dance between the mainstream media and the alt media. Because, of course, what is the obvious, automatic response from anybody outside the mainstream to any of these articles?
Yeah,
you know what it is.
The pokey, the Hawaiians.
We don't need
to
say anything about it. We'll play this game too. We'll play this game too, mainstream. We're going to leave the vacuum. And this is the kind of the point we're trying to make. We don't need to even say any reference to what we all know is being referenced. And that's how powerful the vacuum that is being left in mainstream is. And again, mainstream and alt in this beautiful dance, the alt media, that's all they can talk about.
Can we let de Blasio say it? Not us.
No,
De Blasio?
I
Not
really
even de
don't.
Blasio?
No, I'm insisting that we don't say it.
Oh,
I'm insisting we do not even
buying
be.
into the psyop.
No. I'm making a point.
I know, I get it.
We're not even going to reference it in any way. And so that is the point. And now by leaving that vacuum in the mainstream media, the alt media, it's like a matter of physics is rushing in to fill that vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the beautiful way that this trap has been laid, because there is only one answer in the alt media. Okay, we all know what that is. Now, folks, we've been talking about this for my entire life. They're working on a 30-year timeline here.
Yeah.
And it has always been known that our fake food, our bad vices, our cell phones, our AirPods, our microplastics, the entire world that we live in, our entire society seems to be built around one single goal, and that is to give everyone cancer. You have to admit that. Before 2021, and the thing came out that we all know that it is, every single part of our society is built in such a way to at least have negligence against the idea that we would try to protect ourselves from cancer. We live in a characteristically cancerous society. We know this. In 2020, if you said the cancer rates are exploding, you'd say, yeah, no kidding. We've been saying that for 30 years. Now, all of a sudden, right now, the mainstream is making this it's like the timing is absolutely perfect to lure all the minnows into the net that is the exact thing that we're all knowing that it is. Now, this is not just Kate Middleton, it's not just Black Panther, it's young people across the board. Somebody in the chat just said Ninja has cancer as well. You know Ninja? Your kids know Ninja. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that, parents out there. Ninja, like the #1 most famous online video game streamer in the world, apparently, I'm getting from the chat. Now, go back to the timeline. We're talking about 30-year timeline. Why is it just in this exact moment the entire alt and mainstream apparatus is focused on this cancer explosion? Well, I asked that question again to news.harvard.edu, where in 2022, 2 years ago, they're posting dramatic rise in cancer in people under 50. Altered microbiome, sleep deprivation, increase in alcohol consumption among possible culprits in 30-year global trend. So this was years ago. This story.
I could do better than that. Look at this.
Yeah, go.
The NIH.gov, 40 years of change in age and stage-specific cancer incidence rates in U.S. men and women, published in September of 2019.
Even better.
I can even do better than that. Look at this.
Okay, keep it going.
Cancer.gov headline, colorectal cancer, the one directly mentioned in the Business Insider article, incidence rising in young adults. An interview with Dr. Philip Rosenberg and William Anderson, March 23rd, 2017. So
2017.
Yes.
Look at that.
This thing's been talked about for years, like
old
you said.
News.
Old news. Why is it being
really
discussed
old
now?
news?
Yeah.
Exactly. Really old news. Every single detail that the mainstream and the alt are obsessing over now, purposefully guiding everybody to be pinning it on one reason. This story is 7 years old.
Yeah.
This is a long time coming, and it's working off 30-year-old data. And so obviously the media, both I think mainstream and the corporately funded alt media, they're in this dance to make people be focusing for some reason right now in this exact moment. They want us focusing on this, cancer trend. Of course, the vacuum leading most people to conclude that it is the thing that cannot be named. The sort of, it's almost the manufacturing of the assumption. It's the exact same numbers, the exact same study, the exact same threat that in 2017 was available to anybody who was looking at it. Exact same news, 7 years old, but right at this exact moment is when they want us all obsessing over it. So something else is going on. And of course, the automatic assumption should be that it's some other factor that came into the world in recent times that has mysterious effects that we don't know was studied enough, etc., etc. Of course.
Yes.
Of course we would go there. However, Gons, the question is, why now? Would you like to tell us why now?
Well, I have ideas. I don't know that it is for a fact, but I will do my best. So, when you talk about the thing that no one's talking about, right? The thing that no one's talking about as the reason that people today, looking at these headlines from Business Insider, like charts show sharp rise in cancer in young adults before 50, everyone's thinking about the same sharp thing that pokes us, and that itself, I believe, is a setup. Similar to how everyone was saying things about Kate Middleton before the facts came out. I think there's a setup happening here for another kind of treatment that will cure cancer. I think that's where we're headed here.
The diversion is beautiful. You're all focused on one thing, and so you're not focusing on this.
And it sets up a beautiful sort of hypocrisy for the alt media, the people that are really entrenched in the alt world, because they'll all be, anti-pokey poke. And then they'll be forced to be like, yeah, but we cured cancer with this. Are you ready to, what about your mother who has cancer? You're not going to let her live a little longer with this. So they are, I don't like the way they are creating the trap. It's like an ethical trap where people are going to be forced to either, renounce their position as anti-jabby jab, or it's just this big psyop. So
tell us the answer here.
Okay,
you've buried the lead. So
I know. I'm sorry.
The problem, reaction, solution leads to this.
Yes, this is an article coming from phys.org. It was published on February 1st, so a couple months ago, which it does sort of align with the timing here. The headline: a nanotechnology-based CRISPR-Cas9 delivery system for genome editing in cancer treatment. Oh, there you go. There's my bell. There's my bell. Yeah. So, we've been talking about CRISPR for a long time, and now not nanoparticles, because nanoparticles, just exist, but specifically nanotechnology. That's really been the
real nanobots.
Right.
That's
the
lipid nanoparticles. We're talking about real nanobots here.
Too many people over the last few years have seen, articles or things written about nanoparticles, and they're like, see, look they're trying to bring the nanobots in. And it's like, wait. There's a difference between nanotechnology and just your run-of-the-mill nanoparticles. Yeah. And they have this diagram at the top, which it looks like a sigil. It looks like an alchemical sigil that has the CRISPR-Cas9 in the middle. There's 6 circles that surround that CRISPR-Cas9 thing, and it's kind of in a hexagram shape, and they all connect. And there's different types of nanoparticles surrounding that.
What is it? Cosmic geometry or something?
Yeah, there's some kind of something going on there. And I'll read a little. This article is not great because it's very technical. But the sort of takeaway here is that they're creating ways with this thing called the sgRNA, which let me double check what it stands for here. The single-stranded directing RNA. It can be used to deliver, certain edits for people with cancer and to treat them or even treat the cancer itself. So here we go. Nanotechnology-based delivery techniques for these 3 categories to treat cancer are summarized in the paper. Though viral vectors are the most commonly used delivery vectors for the CRISPR-Cas9 system, their applications have been limited due to drawbacks such as limited packaging capacity, high immunogenicity, and lack of tissue targeting. Nanocarriers, concluding cationic lipid-based nanoparticles, and just a bunch of very complex words here, including DNA nanostructures, gold-based nanoparticles, and exosomes or extracellular vesicles are currently hopeful delivery methods for CRISPR-Cas9 systems. So, you know, the people that sort of jumped the gun with the conspiracy of the mRNA stuff may have been onto something in a sense. And we always pointed to CRISPR as like, I think CRISPR might have a larger role to play in this. And here we go. All the worlds are coming together, Basil. I think they are getting ready to roll out two things. One, on one hand, they will roll out the cancer treatments in mass. And I think it's possible that they're setting up Trump to be that guy. You know, he was the guy who did Operation Warp. I got rid of the virus, you know, whatever. And now his whole big thing can be, I got rid of cancer, the first president to get rid of cancer. That could be in the works. And that's one side of it. But the other side of it is the vacuum that is left in ways to kill people with immunity in large masses. A eugenics program in masses is what the whole pandemic thing started, which is the fears of bioweapons, biotechnology. And I want to bring your attention to a couple things. I think we need to look at this a lot more often because it's public and it's just one of those resources that I think can be very helpful to anybody doing research. And that is the DNI, the ODNI, which is the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Every year, they release a document titled Annual Threat Assessment of the U.S. Intelligence Community. So it's like a public, outline, PDF that talks about all kinds of threats that the intelligence community needs to pay attention to.
Right.
And
we've referred to this stuff before.
Yeah, we have. And I actually mention it in Age of Deceit 4 because one of the guy that talked about Q Day, the day that somebody gets a quantum computer, we're going to have to prepare for that. So interesting conversations there. But there's a segment here that talks about health security, specifically concerning biological weapons. And let me zoom in on that because I think it's very interesting. Remember, this is the intelligence report that's public. Biological weapons, global shortcomings and preparedness for the COVID-19 pandemic and concerns with biosecurity, fabricated public claims about U.S. biological weapons developments fueled by U.S. adversaries, as well as continued questions surrounding the origins of the COVID-19 virus may inspire some adversaries to consider options related to the development of biological weapons. Now, this likely means that the intelligence apparatus is helping assist in making biological weapons out there somewhere, but I don't know about that. This is who they blame. China, Iran, North Korea, and Russia continue to publicly push false narratives that may drive global threat perceptions of biological weapons, including linking U.S. laboratories abroad to COVID-19 origins, breaches in biosafety, untrustworthy vaccines, and biological weapons. Russia's false messaging about alleged U.S. biological weapons work has been amplified in the aftermath of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, leading up to its invocation of Article 5 at the Biological and Toxin Weapons Convention in 2022, and will persist as Russia pushes its false narrative across international venues. Okay, that's bullet point 1 under biological weapons. Bullet point 2, rapid advances in dual-use technology, including bioinformatics, synthetic biology, nanotechnology, and genomic editing, that's what we're talking about here with the CRISPR and the nanotechnology stuff here, could enable development of novel biological weapons that complicate detection, attribution, and treatment. So again, this is what the intelligence community is suggesting is a threat to the world out there, and it makes sense to cure cancer at the same time start releasing, be scared, everybody, because, in some ways, a threat of a biological weapon and, especially really cutting edge type of stuff is way better than cancer because it can really, the lockdowns showed that, hey, you can get people to stay inside. They're hooked into the metaverse. We can suck their life energy. And, it's a different kind of prison,
Yeah.
So that's something to consider when all of this is happening with the cancer conversation here.
Yeah, it is interesting, and especially when you have eyes to see and ears to hear here. We've been hearing. So Joe Biden randomly throughout his presidency here, out of nowhere, amongst his rants and mumbling and made up words, he keeps talking about curing cancer and cancer vaccines, and like he'll just throw it in randomly to totally.
I think that's giving the Democrats a little thing about when Trump cures cancer. They say, "Well, Joe started it."
Yeah,
sorry. Continue.
No, that could be the thing. I mean, I think it's indicative because, as we know, Joe Biden isn't necessarily in total control of what he says and what he does.
Joe Biden is not in full control of Joe Biden.
Yeah, there's been times where obviously he's been told something in confidence and comes out.
I don't know. I wasn't supposed to say that.
Yeah, says it out loud, and it's kind of like, okay, we got to stop telling him stuff because it's just getting out there. So I mean, that's at least indicative that there are large, very important and secretive conversations going on with the president present, for better or for worse. And so there is some sort of large behind the scenes meta movement going on about cancer. And the fact that the mainstream media has baited the alt media, which subsequently basically has every single person thinking about the same thing, which is what's causing all this cancer. A question that is so easy to answer that we knew it 30 years ago, which is everything's giving us cancer. Every plastic that you touch, every breath of air that you breathe walking down the sidewalk, everything you put in your body, whether it's water that's been in a bottle or a sandwich that's been in a wax paper, every single inch of our society is cancer causing. The clothes on your body, the electromagnetic waves in your house, the Wi-Fi that is blasting you 24/7. Of course, everybody's getting cancer. Of course, the generation that is growing up since the 90s is more affected by this threat than those who were born beforehand. Of course, this is happening. This should be of no surprise, and it should be of no mystery. And we really shouldn't need a conspiracy theory to explain it all. Now, does that mean I don't think certain things had anything to do with it? No, of course they had something to do with it. But we really got to be careful as to who is pulling our string, because as Gons has been walking us through recently, it is far too easy for each one of us to become an asset to perpetuate a helpful narrative to some grand plan that we have no idea what it could be. Now, I don't know. I can't tell you what the threat is to assuming that it is what we are assuming it is. I don't know. There's no way of knowing. But it is more than ever the moment, the number one moment to stay skeptical, not just of what the mainstream media says, but then it's the other side of the same coin, corporate media coin, which is alt media. It is especially time to be skeptical of what we are so easily being led to believe. It's just far too easy, and I'm very suspicious of it.
Yeah, the Streisand effect is very powerful, and it works in all kinds of directions. If you choose not to talk about a thing, the public is going to be like, why aren't you talking about that thing? And then you create this snowball effect. They've become very good at that, the social engineers. Now, I want to reference the unclassified report from 2024 real quick, because there is a little bit more here. And there's a segment titled Disruptive Technologies. And here's what it says. New technologies, particularly in the fields of AI and biotechnology, are being developed and are proliferating at a rate that makes it challenging for companies and governments to shape norms regarding civil liberties, privacy, and ethics. The convergence of these emerging technologies is likely to create breakthroughs, which could lead to the rapid development of asymmetric threats, such as advanced UAVs, to U.S. interests and probably will help shape U.S. economic prosperity. That's the other part. Economic prosperity. That's military-industrial complex talk. Like, hey, if we need to get a hold of this, we need to create some norms. Otherwise, we're not going to profit off any of this stuff that's going out there. And there's one more point here. I think this is the cherry on top. Digital authoritarianism and transnational repression, kind of to wrap things up here. Foreign states are advancing digital and physical means to repress individual critics and diaspora communities abroad, including in the United States, to limit their influence over domestic publics. States are also growing more sophisticated in digital influence operations that try to affect foreign publics' views, sway voters' perspectives, shift policies, and create social and political upheaval. What have I been saying? We've all been turning into intelligence operatives. This is it right here. They're basically saying it. Like this digital influence is causing everybody to become agents of something. We all have a message. We all have something that we're not either promoting or pointing to as the core message. The principles are being shared on the internet. We're all in this sort of fifth generation war, whether you like it or not, especially if you're posting on the internet. Digital technologies have become a core component of many governments' repressive toolkits, even the U.S., even as they continue to engage in physical acts of transnational repression, including assassinations, abductions, abuse of arrest warrants, and familial intimidation. The PRC, the People's Republic of China, probably is the top perpetrator of physical transnational repression. I like that. Yeah, probably the top perpetrator. I mean, we won't talk about us.
We come in a close second, but they are better at it than us.
Yeah. So anyway, these documents are great if you want some insight into how the intelligentsia or the intelligence apparatus are thinking about the threats that we all face, including the intelligence apparatus themselves, as they continue on here. So
this is why, Gons. This is why we've never reached our full potential in earthly terms as a podcast. Sure. By earthly measurements, this is why this whole episode is why we have never reached the numbers that people so often expect us to reach, is because it is unprofitable to debunk theories like the directed energy weapons or the Angela Chao shipping company theory. This is not how you get more listeners by debunking these things. It's also not how you get more listeners by making a point that the most obvious answer to a conspiracy theory might be being used against us and preparing us for an even more dangerous psyop. This is not for anybody out there. People often ask us, how do you make a successful podcast? You do not do what we are doing now.
Yeah, don't do what we do.
Which makes
a successful podcast.
Yeah, which makes the listeners of this podcast. This is why I'm so honored to be listened to by the people who do listen to us, because it's a true search for what's true, not just the titillating of the ears and the what's the word? The entertainment of the new conspiracy theory.
Sure.
So if you want to be a very popular podcast instead of just a regular popular podcast, you don't do what we do. Gonzo, we did it again. We need to thank some producers.
Let's thank producers coming in with their... Oh, actually, you know what? Let me just real quickly do a... There's one speak pipe, I believe. Okay. Let's do that real quick.
Great.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com, anywhere on the website. If you find yourself on, the roundtable page or the support page or any page, you can go there and you'll see a green tab that just follows you around on the right side or the bottom. Click on it. It'll open a little window that allows you to record a 90-second audio message and deliver it to us. You can give us a pre-show prayer. You can send us a private note. Let us know it's private at the top. You can publicly address the Canarium. We also like hearing from the celebrities, the politicians, athletes, deceased mafia members, whoever you might be. Boots on the ground reports, meetup reports, you can all do it there. We have something from Sir Ike today.
Great.
Hey, Canary family, Sir Ike here. I'm getting ready to announce the next winner for the rating and review giveaway.
Ooh,
the winner for today's package will be Jeffrey L. Jeffrey L., you are the winner of about a 5-pound box of coffee beans. If I will be reaching out to you soon, I want to congratulate you on winning that and thank you for your rating and review. And just to let anybody know that if they want to sign up to win a gift package, all you have to do is to leave a rating and review on iTunes or whatever podcatcher you use. Screenshot that. Send that to me at canarychristsupply.drop@gmail.com, and you will get on the list forever. Also, for all of the supply droppers and T-shirt council members out there, I need to ask that if anybody has moved, changed address, or need to update a shirt size, if you could contact me as well very soon. We're working on finalizing lists so I can get those out the door to everybody. Send that to the same email, canarychristsupply.drop@gmail.com, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.
Jeffrey L., the winner of the review drawing. Congrats, Jeffrey L.
Yeah, congrats.
That's so fun. I did not know that there was going to be one happening so soon, but Sir Ike is on the game. He might be the most diligent member of the organization we have here, Cons. Very impressive.
There's a lot of them, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sir Ike's definitely one of them. Sir Ike did leave a message or a review on Apple, I guess iTunes, or not iTunes anymore, Apple Podcast. It says, Sir Ike's friend.
Yes.
This is how you take your friend's phone to leave. Wait, hold on. What's going on?
To leave a review for the best podcast in the metaverse.
Just got a hold of friend's phone to leave a review for the best podcast. Yeah, okay. So he just took over the thing. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so you take your friend's phone, open up Apple Podcasts, search Canary Cry News Talk, and secretly, surreptitiously leave a rating and a review. You can get permission if you want. It's a little less exciting that way, but that's a good thing to do. We're at 932 global ratings. Which is pretty good, but it'll be cool hitting 1,000. We need 70 people to do it. And leave a rating and a review. Take a screenshot of it. Email that to canarychristsupply.drop@gmail.com and win a prize. Whee!
Woo! Okay. All right. Let's thank some producers for their talent.
Okay.
Audio production. One art, please.
Help build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk with your talent. It's not all about the cash. It's about helping us out with visuals, audio, all kinds of stuff.
The culture.
The culture,
yes.
The culture. All right, we got something here from Jonathan F., I believe.
Jonathan F.
Yeah, the Jonathan F. jingle is hot. Let me tell you. It's coming in hot. He has a note that says, hello, guys. Kamala Harris visited Puerto Rico and was greeted with a nice protest song. Oh, I missed this. I thought it would be a good idea to memorialize that. God bless. And what does he say? God bless. And enjoy. Yes, enjoy. Here we go. That's ¿Qué viniste a hacer? What did you come to do, Kamala?
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool song, actually. That's catchy.
They were chanting, what did you come to do, Kamala?
That's good.
That's really good. I love that. Fantastic. Thank you, Jonathan F. I didn't even hear about that, so appreciate
Did
that.
Jonathan F. do you put the instrumentals over it, or was that part of the protest?
I don't know. Maybe he was there with the DJ box there. He was leading the way. Yeah, put it past Jonathan F. Thank you very much. Let's move on to some visuals.
One art piece from Dave.
Sir Dove coming in. He says, "Peace for this week's Bible artwork. I did an illustration for Proverbs 11:25. A generous soul will prosper, and one who waters will himself be watered." Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins.
Yeah, this is great. We've got the background image of a beautiful tree stump, looking down like at a tree stump. Although I guess
Next
it's
to
not
a
a tree
river or
stump; it's a
something.
tree. It's an actual tree. And we've got a illustrated image of a beautiful purple flower growing up, and that purple flower is holding a watering can, watering another fun, happy flower. And in watery font around the sides here, it says, "Water and be watered." That's a good thing to remember. Thank you so much, Sir Dove.
Yeah. Thank you, Sir Dove. Appreciate it. As always, keep going. Keep it going. All right. We have another piece of art here from Cassius.
Cassius
Says, "Hey, Basil, Gons, it's Cassius. Remember I met you, Basil, at the Reno meetup? I'm 7 now. Hey, same with my daughter. And here's a picture I drew of you guys being attacked by one-eyed robots. They're trying to steal your microphone, and there's a little guy up in the sky, too. Thanks for everything you do. Can you please play the lint trap for me?" Okay.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
of
can do
course we
some
can,
lint trap.
Cassius. And of course I remember you. I can't believe you're 7 years old already. I still have all the sticks and the acorns that you and your sister got. Spent so much time and hard work gathering and putting in my pockets to bring home. So I appreciate that very much. My goodness, 7 years old. Jeez Louise. But we got a great piece of art here in the sky. We got a big orange sun, complete with eyeballs and mouth, and he's looking down on the scene here. About mid-page, we've got a little guy on a cloud, little pink little fella, who seems to be cheering as he watches down below, where Basil and Gons are valiantly fighting for their microphones. Gons, you've got a big one-eyed robot about the size of you. You've got your hands up. You're ready to punch. You've got your green hat on there. I'm over on the right. I got the coolest, very strong jawline, like kind of like Gronk in what's that movie? Emperor's New Groove. Imagine Gronk in Emperor's New Groove. I've got my headset on, got my googly eyes, and I am trying my best to keep that microphone away from a tiny little one-eyed robot that has perched on my head. This is very good. Very creative, Cassius. Very well done. Very talented fellow. And thanks for participating in this. Again, another candidate for the Canary Cry refrigerator.
Yep. Thank you very much, Cassius. Good to see you, and thanks for turning 7.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for continuing the species. We're gonna need another generation.
Yes, very much so. All right, we got one more from Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Pandas.
Night of the Hungry Pandas.
Remember, folks, you can see all this art in the show notes or in the newsletter that gets sent out before every show. We've got a great advertisement, again, very professional advertisement from Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda, for Emu's energy drinks. Whoa. We got the background of Basil's bunker, the sort of Vault 76 style art there. At the bottom, we've got some. This is a straight up advertisement for Emu's energy drink, sizzling sarsaparilla flavor. We've got a very funny logo for Emu's energy drink. Basil's bunker branded on the side of the can. Energy V for V.
I do not have
Emus.
the right. I do not have the right art.
No, you don't.
You told me to go get the art from Sir Darren, so I did, and then I must have just not gotten.
I don't
the
know
right
what
one.
you got, but you got the wrong one there. That's
Okay.
one he made months ago.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, why? I thought we already did this one.
Yeah, you should have mentioned something. You didn't mention you were confused, but if you go to Sir Darren's Twitter,
I see it. I don't
you
need to
can
go to Sir
see
Darren's Twitter.
his most recent thing. I guess you
I
could go
just
to
need to
the
see.
newsletter as well. That works
Yeah.
too. There we go. Yeah, now you'll find it. I will continue with the things on the thing.
No,
here.
continue. Yes, I
Says,
got it here. So
visit Basil's Bunker and stock up today. Oh, so see, this is a product you can get at Basil's Bunker. Sizzling sarsaparilla. Stay alert, stay alive. In a world where survival is paramount and the wasteland throws its worst at you, only the strong can thrive. Introducing Emu Energy Drinks, an apocalyptic powerhouse packed into every can, keeping you sharp, focused, and ready to tackle the wasteland with ease. An epic pick-me-up of haphazard chemicals, strong aftertaste, strange side effects, and unmatched rejuvenation. We've got some marketing details down here. You can buy and scan for an emusive AR experience. That's very good. Unlock custom emoticons. Very good. Access emu-exclusive content. See? This is what I need. This is how Basil's Bunker is really gonna solve all my problems here. Thank you very much, Sir Darren. As always, executed like a professional and a true creative genius.
Yep. Thank you very much, Sir Darren. I'm gonna save the microfiction for Mondays are just becoming microfiction days.
Microfiction day. Yeah.
Because I do want to tackle this last little story here before we take off.
Thank you to everybody.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
I was just going to say, thank you everybody who contributes to the culture. It's just as important as any other kind of producership, especially you young folks. That we've got a lot of young producers getting involved here. It's very cool. It might be the coolest part about our show. So feel encouraged if you have. I'm also have made contact with a Canary Cry Fushigi artist. So here's the thing, folks. No matter what your talent, you can contribute to the culture. It's very important. Culture is almost more important nowadays to true independent media, because that's the difference between independent media and alternative media. Alternative media is corporate culture. Independent media is independent culture. And we need you here. So you can go to canarycry.art, where you can upload any kind of file. It'll put it in our little sheet here, and we'll share it on the show. We really appreciate it. Of course, if you have any articles you'd like us to tackle or consider for the show, you can go to canarycry.report. There you go.
Yep. By the way, thank you to the people who sent in some articles. It's there's some gaps sometimes. We don't always see articles come in. Maybe sometimes like a week or two goes by. Sir Ike and Leo, thank you for your submissions. And actually, Leo's submission we might be talking about a little later. Another episode.
Seek and ye shall find on YouTube says, no AI generated art allowed is the rule, right? Force people to be creative. No AI art allowed. That's true. We are trying to discourage as much AI art as possible, because AI art, unfortunately, is not very conducive to true human culture. There's occasions where somebody really makes something work and it's very specific and it's very well done for the show. That could slip by the censors, but as a general rule, we're avoiding AI art.
Yeah, and we're having fun with our AI art generator or some of the microfiction and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe some of the thumbnail stuff, but that's as far as it goes for AI.
Yeah, we don't want AI being a core principal creator of the culture here.
Yep. Okay, last story.
It's cold, Basil. It's cold. Antarctica, go first. It's a snowstorm. Antarctica. Ice scientists are penguins. Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
This is an opinion piece coming from The Hill concerning national security. And the headline here, we can't freeze out Antarctica's national security consequences.
Very clever.
It's getting real, Basil. It's getting serious.
Yeah, this is serious business.
America is competing with Russia and China in a great power struggle. This trilateral standoff marks a new era of global tensions. Anticipating future challenges is important, including rising geopolitical tensions in Antarctica and their impact on U.S. national security.
Whoa.
Wow. I mean, we've
like
been
China.
on it. We've been on it. Russia and China are currently increasing their control over the territories and resources in Antarctica, while the U.S. is giving less importance to the region. Neglecting to pay closer attention to this area and support American endeavors could lead to a setback in our ability to compete with our most formidable adversaries and safeguard our national security. Antarctica was off limits for countries as an economic and national security arena during the Cold War. That is far from the case now. The Antarctic Treaty, negotiated under the Eisenhower administration, aims to manage existing territorial claims, prevent new ones, and prevent Antarctic mineral exploration. Around 55 countries are party to the treaty, while approximately 82 stations are maintained by 30 countries on the continent. Since 1982, the treaty system for Antarctica has taken a practical form through the Commission for the Conservation of Antarctic Living Resources. This organization serves as a platform for member states, including China and Russia, to discuss and implement policies for the future of the continent. However, the thaw of the Cold War has caused the erosion of these guardrails.
Whoa.
I am sure this guy, and I'll tell you who he is in a second here, writing this opinion piece, and he was so proud of himself for connecting Cold War with Antarctica and ice and melting ice. Oh, they're so
definitely not
stoked
the
about it.
first one, but they're always very proud of themselves.
I know. Expert Daniel Rund and Henry Zeimer from CSIS have stated that the efforts to limit great power competition from entering Antarctica and prevent military use of the continent are no longer as effective as they once were. Oh, why? Why? Emerging technologies, such as new icebreakers, all-weather airstrips, drones, and remote sensing technologies are increasing competition between powers and may disrupt the consensus around Antarctica. New technologies may lower barriers for countries seeking to increase their presence and benefit from the region's resources. Meanwhile, Russia and China are incorporating Antarctica into their national security strategies, disregarding the treaty system. The current power struggles in Antarctica region and around the North Pole they talk about the Arctic region now and compare it. The North Pole may provide a glimpse into what could happen in Antarctica and around the South Pole. While the Arctic has been in the news lately due to the increasing militarization and competition over hydrocarbon resources, there has been little discussion about national security and grand strategy in the South Pole region. Yeah, because that's where they're hiding everything. Even though the Arctic treaty system has been able to withstand challenges until now, a possible discovery of valuable natural resources in the Antarctic could lead to a breaking point. Russia's actions contradict its previous stance on keeping Antarctica demilitarized. Its growing interest in the Antarctic region, including the establishment of Roskaya Station as a potential electronic and anti-satellite warfare site. There you go, Basil. There's your electronic and anti-satellite warfare.
Yeah,
maybe
perfect.
they pinged something from Antarctica to hit some of those ships over in Baltimore. It's possible. Is not limited to national security, as it also seeks to expand its fishing sector in the area. Without a defined posture and efforts from the U.S., Russia could become the dominant force in the region. And this is the big kicker here. The highlights are coming in now. The increasing military presence of China in Antarctica has raised serious concerns among experts and policymakers, as the strategic location of the continent could lead to severe consequences for global security. The latest hypersonic missile test by China, known as the Long March 2C rocket, has raised the alarm that the United States could be attacked from the South Pole and evade all current missile defense systems. Really?
Yeah.
If a rocket was fired from the South Pole, there's no missile defense systems right now?
Sorry, buckaroo.
Why? Okay, first of all, why are you giving away the plot?
Yeah.
Why are you broadcasting our vulnerabilities? That's a little suspicious, guy. But also, I don't believe it. I don't believe that if China launched a missile from Antarctica, that it's going to like hit us blindside Americans. Maybe that's what they're setting everybody up for.
It's the treaty with the UFOs. You know, we it's part of our deal. We can't have missiles or anti-missile systems anywhere near Antarctica. It's kind of the whole thing. Not just the Antarctican Treaty, which forever has considered Antarctica a demilitarized zone with no access to natural resources, just scientific discovery, the sort of religion of the day. It was a holy site in the consideration of scientific secularism. But like all holy sites, Gons, they eventually get sucked into a holy war.
Well, also, science has been militarized, so to have all these scientific stations everywhere, it's basically the same thing as having maybe not the kind of kinetic weaponry per se, but other kinds of weapons. This vulnerability arises from the existing missile defense system being solely focused on the North Pole, leaving the nation's underbelly exposed to potential attacks.
Oh, no.
We must take this issue seriously and work toward developing a robust defense mechanism to safeguard ourselves against any potential threat. This sounds like asking for more money from the taxpayer. Compared to the clear action plans and proactive endeavors that Russia and China have taken in Antarctica, the United States does not have nearly as much to show for it.
This guy obviously doesn't know about the treaty we have with the aliens, where the aliens will defend us from the South. That's the whole point. We don't need to aim our military power down there because of the underground alien bases.
Yeah. It says here, in 2021, the U.S. National Security Strategy did not mention Antarctica even once. Which I think that's sort of another Streisand effect type of thing. Another recent study revealed that the U.S. has displayed inconsistent leadership in the Arctic and Antarctic regions since the Cold War. This has allowed China and Russia to gain more influence in these areas, which could have serious implications for the U.S. Our national security and domestic politics rely heavily on our competition with Russia and China. Sadly, the public's trust in the government's ability to compete and succeed is at an all-time low. It's vital that our leaders not only discuss the importance of this competition, but also take action. Take action. And again, this was written by Todd Tiahart, Republican from Kansas. He's a former member of Congress who served on defense appropriations, there it is, and the Intelligence Committee.
Yep, defense appropriations is perfect. And the timing of this is perfect as well. Because, of course, this could not happen until culturally, Antarctica was sort of inducted into the liberal world order, with all the hullabaloo about the gay weddings and the trans mountain climbers and the women of
First
color.
Female, the women of color,
the misogyny that there aren't more female bathrooms in Antarctica. These are all stories we've covered for years, folks, and it starts with the cultural sort of volleys, and once Antarctica is considered culturally important to protect, that's when the Pentagon comes in and asks for money. So it's all right on schedule.
And let's not pretend like the U.S. doesn't have like an underground base or something out there, or maybe not. Maybe calling it the United States is even a misdirection.
This guy obviously doesn't know about the Watchers who are chained up in the mountains, and who was it? Buzz Aldrin saying that there's the absolute evil living in Antarctica, and we're all at threat from it. I think he tweeted that at some point. At least that's the conspiracy theory. There's a lot going on down there. Okay, everybody take a big breath. It's gonna be okay. It's all part of the plan.
Yep. There you go.
All right, Guns. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We really appreciate it, especially those who come in. They understand the value for value model. They understand that true independent media can only exist with the participation of individuals. That's you. It's about empowering the individual to cause change or to enforce, enforce substantiation. I don't know what the word is.
Whoa.
To keep us alive. It's up to each and every thank you. It's up to each and every empowered individual who has chosen the value for value life, not letting the corporatist forces control their will, control their mind. It's all a psyop, making you think that you're not responsible for what media exists. You are, at least in a perfect world. Otherwise, you're left to corporatocracy and the dancing of mainstream media and alt media, two sides of the same coin, working for the same people. But if you want to become a part of the team here, you can support the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Of course, you can learn more about all of that at canarycry.support. But I want to thank some producers who help us with their time, starting with the Clippies. No, yes.
Timestampers.
Timestampers.
Timestamp. It's hard work. Timestamp.
Timestamps. Thank you very much to producer
Morgan E
for doing timestamp 7726. Morgan E's been hard at work recently. Thank you so much from you, Morgan E, for your work. We do have a burgeoning Clippy group.
Hey.
A burgeoning group of Clippies who are getting to work. I think today might be the first one. So I forgot to ask if they have any special names that they would like to be thanked by, so I will start thanking them next time. But we're trying to get the shorts going, Gons. Trying to get the shorts going.
Thank you to the Clippies.
So thank you to the Clippies.
Clippy on those videos. Thanks.
Yep, and this is where your name would appear for thanking. Thank you to Jam for the links. Thank you to Clank for clanking. Thank you to everybody working so hard, like Sir Ike and others. But more than anything, folks, just share the show. People on YouTube apparently are sharing the show. Those YouTube numbers have been growing, which is a sweet and sour feeling in the mouth.
Big honeypot to just shut everybody down.
We did hit 3,330 followers on Rumble. That's a fun number. Thank you for that. Again, remember to follow youtube.com/@thejoyspiracy for a backup on YouTube. But share the show. Share it with friends. Share it with your family. Share it in weird and wacky ways. You don't need to share the show in the classic ways. Of course, word of mouth is always good. Posting it on social media is always good. Going down to your local prosthesis clinic, that's always good. They need to know what's going on. But more than anything, why don't you tell the Pentagon? I mean, the Pentagon, they're really the ones who are controlling where all the money's going here. So if any listeners who currently work for, in, or around the Pentagon, please just write a little note, maybe leave it on a napkin, and just put it on any old person's desk that you're able to in there. I'm assuming that's how our government works. Just write a number, write a big number on the desk, and hopefully that check will help keep us alive further into the future. But at least maybe we'll find that we already have some producers in the Pentagon. Surely they would have no problem telling us if that's the case. But that's just one way to share the show. You don't got to do it that way. Do it any way you want. We call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Just ask Noah. Guns, don't forget we got to play Lint Trap.
Lint Trap. I was just about to say Lint Trap coming right up. And let's see. Oh, wait. What is this? Oh.
Any last words?
Yeah. Klaus Schwab's birthday on Saturday.
Oh, hey!
Yeah.
See, that's fun. Folks, get your Canary Cry calendar. You'll know Klaus Schwab's birthday is coming up this Saturday. Make sure to wish him a very happy birthday. What is he turning? 734?
I don't know. It'll be a great reset that day.
Something like that. I don't know how lizards like to celebrate their birthday. Maybe a fresh molting. We'll find out on Monday. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths.
Give me a break. I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
Toilets!
They love killing.
Can I tell you a sort of a twisted pleasure that I have?
It's okay. No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap.
It takes time. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love peeling off that big old lint trap, rolling it into a ball, peeling off that big old lint trap. Just like throwing it in the trash, really. Should I be saving this?
No.
You could knit it into a scarf or something?
No.
Surely. It's very soft.
No.
This would make really good fire starter. You are a weird prepper. Hoarder. Like a weird guy, man. Weird prepper. Not normal, like a weird guy, man. Clearing out that lint trap.
No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. That lint trap. I know it's gross, folks.
A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love it. I'm constantly having to remind myself, wear a pink shirt for the show. Constantly having to remind myself, save the dryer lint, use it as fire starter, knit a scarf, save the dryer lint. Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man.
He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies.
Bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary, cry, not support.